As the night falls and the stars align, Coley Marquis Show takes us on a ride through the cosmos, the unknown, where mysteries of the universe are shown. Questions arise, curiosity grows. Are we alone? Only time knows. UFOs, aliens, paranormal sights. Experts share their knowledge under the lights. Did the government recover a crashed UFO? Or alien bodies hidden? Where do they go? Sean Mac's alien agenda. Is it right? Will the truth finally come to light? Secrets of the universe unfold in a facility where the truth's been told. Conspiracies and cover-ups entwine. As we search for answers, will we find? In the shadows, the truth awaits. UFOs, aliens, paranormal sights. Experts share their knowledge under the lights. Did the government recover a crashed UFO? Or alien bodies hidden? Where do they go? Sean Mac's alien agenda. Is it right? Will the truth finally come to light? Secrets of the universe unfold in a facility where the truth's been told. Conspiracies and cover-ups entwine. As we search for answers, will we find? In the shadows, the truth awaits. In the shadows, the truth awaits. UFOs, aliens, paranormal sights. Experts share their knowledge under the lights. Did the government recover a crashed UFO? Or alien bodies hidden? Where do they go? Sean Mac's alien agenda. Is it right? Will the truth finally come to light?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Coley and Marquis Show. This is Marquise coming at you live. Listen, I apologize for the technical issue in the start of this show. My goodness. It couldn't get any more embarrassing, I can tell you that. But today we have something special. We have two very dear friends of mine, people that have become friends of mine since the beginning of my time here. Now, I have a lot of friends, but listen, these two made a huge personal emotional impact in my personal life, even to the point of counseling with one of them. And so let me go ahead and introduce them. Let me bring them on, and then I'll introduce them. We all know who they are. You all know who they are. And yes, the title is wrong. Listen, there are some issues with me launching the stream. I'm using Streamlabs. So when you create a new live stream, you connect it to multiple different accounts. And so the one account was I created a new title for the Twitch channel, but YouTube kept the title from last week's episode. So we are not with Laura Eisenhower. I will fix this. Today, we are with Dolly and Preston Dennett. So let's bring Dolly and Preston in. And here we go. So this is going to be awesome. I'm really excited about this. And here we go. Guys, Dolly and Preston, I pulled you in. I dig the music. Yeah, there you go.
I was watching one of my favorite sideshows.
That's all right. That's all right.
A little weird.
Welcome, Dolly. Welcome, Preston. So I want to give you guys a quick intro. So Preston is, as you all know, he's a renowned UFO and paranormal investigator. He's authored over 30 books, a couple of which I do own, one of which I just got today, and we're going to talk about that, among other things, and over 100 articles since 1986. If I get anything wrong, by the way, please correct me. I have no problem with that. But he's interviewed hundreds of witnesses and explored various paranormal phenomena. Preston's work has been featured on major media outlets, including the History Channel's Ancient Aliens, and he's a respected MUFON field investigator. And let me tell you something, Preston is extremely knowledgeable. This man has a wealth of knowledge that he could just like go off all day. I've watched your shows, Preston, and you can talk about, I don't know how you do this, you can talk about any event in great detail for hours. And we're talking about dozens, hundreds of different situations with these people, encounters with these beings, and you can recall them in detail. I have no words for that. So then there's Dolly. Dolly is very special because Dolly has had a lifetime of extraordinary encounters herself. That's kind of what brought Dolly and Preston together. She's met with extraterrestrial beings starting at a very young age. Her experiences include being taken aboard UFOs, learning how to pilot these craft, and working with the Greys to assist humanity. Now, Dolly's story is detailed in the book Symmetry, which, by the way, I do have the PDF of. I'm really excited about that book. We're going to talk about that too. But Symmetry, a true UFO adventure, written by, of course, Preston. And Preston, your audiobook. The audiobook that I just got today is called Inside UFOs, Accounts of Contact with Extraterrestrials. This just came out on an audiobook form. So Preston, Dolly, by all means, please introduce yourselves and tell the audience who you are in case they don't know.
Thanks, Marquise. I guess I'll start, Dolly, unless you. All right. Sorry, I just jumped in, but yeah, I mean, I got involved in this field as a skeptic, not believing in any of it until I found out my older brother Marco had seen a UFO years earlier, actually. He tried to tell me. I was 13 or 14 years old, wasn't ready. But at age, let's see, was 21 years old, November 17, 1986, there was a report in the news about a sighting over Alaska, and that intrigued me enough to start asking around and found out that not only had my brother seen a UFO, but his girlfriend, soon to be his wife, had contact with little blue beings as a young girl. My other brother's soon to be wife also had a major UFO sighting, an encounter with gray ETs. I had friends who had encounters, people at the office where I worked. So it kind of rolled out from there. I became a MUFON field investigator 1 year into this. Bought every book I could find on this subject, still collecting them, as you can see behind me. And I was in this field doing research for about 10 years, writing articles before I put out my first book, UFO Healings, and then been cranking them out ever since.
Dolly?
Hi. I'm Dolly Safran. I'm a lifetime contactee. My father was a contactee as well, familial. I was born awake. I'm very psychic. And I started having contact, probably my first real memory is at 10 months old. And been spending my lifetime learning from ET, piloting for ET. They taught me, it took me 4 years to fly. And I decided one day that things are going on the planet. We need to know about it. And I decided to stay back and just give the truth to humanity because it's time. Y'all need to know the truth. That's it.
Yeah, the truth may be hard to swallow. So in many different ways, because we talked about these things for a while. I think one of our first conversations was one of the most intense conversations I've had since I started having these conversations in general. By the way, Coley will be with us. She'll be with us soon, so just hang tight, everyone. She will be joining us in about 10 minutes. But yeah, yeah, there has been a lot of information that you shared with me. Some I will not divulge anything unless you talk about that publicly, of course. Some of it, a lot of it you've talked about to people on live, and I, honestly, it's been. I want to know, but before we even get into it, how hard is it to get people to even listen to what you have to say, especially people that don't believe you?
That's a good question. It runs the gamut. Basically, people who really don't want to hear what I have to say have either hung up or walked away or totally, disavowed, won't talk to me back anymore, that kind of thing. And then there are people who are somewhere in the middle of the road and they're a little open minded and they'll let me talk and then they'll go away and think about it and then come back and ask questions. The way I present, in other words, going through Preston has helped me greatly because the book stands before me and it gives that information. So if you want to watch me now, you've already either read the book or you've heard about me, and that kind of works it out a little bit. I still run into people who go, oh, no, no, mm-mm. And I get comments every now and then too.
Oh yeah, I've been called every name in the book. I mean, you can only imagine. Some people get really hostile. When
Why?
when I first started investigating the subject, kind of divided my family a little bit. Thankfully, we're very close and communicative. But my dad went to the other side, never believe him. To the day, I mean, I remember he came running up to me once with an article about Roswell. Look, it's a mogul balloon. They've explained it. Dad, no, that's not what happened. So yeah, and of course, it would come up at work. I wouldn't preach at work saying, "Oh, UFOs," but everyone at the office knew. All my bosses were okay with it. I've had a number of bosses over the years. Generally, the reaction has been very good, and it's just getting better and better as time goes on. But yeah, I've cleared a few rooms, no doubt about it.
You know, it's funny you said that because I was at one point like not ever wanting to talk about this. It was one of those things you just don't talk about, like a taboo thing, like a trauma that you never tell anyone unless they're really close to you. You know, like that's how tight-lipped I was about this topic. Now, my recent job, everyone knows me as the guy who talks about UFOs. Like my boss, my coworkers, like everybody knows that I'm the guy. And it's so funny because at one time, like I said, I could bring this stuff up. I mean, people still look at you like you're crazy when you talk about it, especially if they've never, they're not your friend, or even if they are friends or family. But they just don't have the foreknowledge. They don't have the not just the experiences, but the understanding, because there are plenty of people who have never had first-hand encounters that believe, and that to me is really incredible. People that are studying this topic, like Richard Dolan, but have never had an experience before. Nothing. Maybe a sighting that they don't know about, but no close encounter that they can definitively say this is something extraordinary. So that's one thing. But for you, Preston, what are you working on right now? By the way, I want to know what you guys are working on right now because you just got the audiobook out. So what's next?
Oh, I'm always working hard. That drove me crazy, by the way, when I was interviewing people and not having had an experience. I went out there and made sure I had one finally. And I've had a lot of sightings and encounters since then. But right now, I'm doing, of course, working hard on the YouTube channel and doing the Light Gate with Dolly and peripheral stuff like that. But really, the next big project is a sequel to Symmetry,
Hmm.
Dolly's experiences,
No, that's
which
interesting.
we really just touched the surface of her experiences. And it's funny because every time I do an interview, pretty much every time with Dolly, she dives into something. I'm like, well, gosh, we didn't cover this in the book. We didn't cover that. And we went in a little bit deeper here. I didn't know that detail. So yeah, we just literally started doing the interviews, and it's tough going because there's a lot going on in the world and just, in general. So it's tough to get things going, but that's the next big project. I'm aiming to get it done this year. I'm pretty excited about it.
Symmetry 2. Symmetry 2.
Yep.
What's it going
Yeah,
to be?
he's a big book. It's he's already started the interviews with me, and he's gone through about eight, no, how many? 6 of 10 questions so far. And then there's everything that I want to talk about. I want to delve more into the science behind all this and explain things because there's so much misinformation out there. It's terrible. And most people nowadays don't have the foundational education of
Yeah.
the sciences under them to help them understand what they're hearing when we talk. And it's easy to fool them or con them into things that are not true. And I want to work on that a little bit in the book as well. And we're going to give some more interesting details, I guess, that kind of thing.
So, give me some details. I mean, well, but wait. Before we get into, because I don't know how much you want to talk about since you're still working on it. Um, let's talk about your recent book that you have released that you can talk about. Um, the one about the encounters with extraterrestrials. Why did you write this book? I know it sounds rhetorical, but for the people that don't know, why did you write this book?
Well, there's
Inside
multiple.
UFO. Yeah, Inside
Yeah,
UFO is the trick answer.
Go first.
inside UFOs is, there's a couple of reasons. One, honestly, it's for myself, which sounds strange maybe, but I really wanted to understand it. And there's no better way to understand something than to interview people who've had direct experiences with it and really go over and over their experiences and then write it out in a narrative form and fully understand it. And yeah, this book contains 10 experiences. And to me, when people have direct face-to-face contact or are taken on board, this is the heart of the UFO experience. This is where we're going to learn the truth about what's going on. Not going to be from governments. It's not going to be from pundits on TV who call themselves scientists yet aren't really doing true science because they're not doing the research flat out. They're just not. They're speculating, completely speculating. So I really wanted to put these cases out because while there's a lot of information out there, like Dolly was saying, a lot of it is disinformation and misinformation. It's very fear-based. There's a lot of researchers out there who are pushing a narrative. And I just want to get this information out in a very fact-based manner so that people who are and this is ultimately why I wrote it, so many people are having these experiences. And I want people to have, a recourse, a place to go so they can learn about their own experiences and perhaps not feel so all alone with this. Because a lot of people, like you said, Marquise, don't talk about it, even to their own family, who can be hostile and disbelieving and actually go as far as ridiculing them. So ultimately, I just want to have a continuing supply chain of new encounters that people can go to and say, well, listen, this is going on. There's a lot of people having these experiences, and just build up that database so that we can get a really good picture, a truthful picture of what's going on here.
So, what do you think's going on?
We're being visited. We are not alone. I mean, it's that simple. There are people out there who are very much like us, far more alike us than different. The word alien and extraterrestrial and creature and figure and all these entity, all these words we use are slightly, separating us from them in a way that I don't think is accurate. Because the more I go into this, and Dolly will back me up with this, they are us, we are them. We share a common heritage. And what they are doing is simply what we would do to our own children. I think that's how they look upon us. Their mission is, in a nutshell, and don't believe me, go to the first-hand cases, because they will show you this. Their mission is one of healing. People are taken on board and healed. Got hundreds of cases. They are guided. ETs will talk to you about your life, talk to you about the state of the world. They're taught. They're shown the engine room, taught how the craft works, taken up to the helm and taught how to fly the craft. They are given warnings and, I would say, messages about the dangers of nuclear proliferation, war and aggression, greed and corruption, these kinds of things, pollution, the destruction of the environment. And also, I think they're making a big effort to not only announce their presence, but to let people know that we ourselves have a really crucial need to advance ourselves spiritually, psychically, morally, and ethically, to advance our own abilities to do astral projection. and precognition and mediumship and all of this stuff that we can do. So that, in a nutshell, I think, is why they're here. Would you say that's accurate, Dolly?
Yes, absolutely. We are their children. We are related to them in ways you can't even imagine. We are part of who they are, and we are autonomous beings as well as they are. And we're here learning and evolving, and should be trying to catch up to them. This iteration of humans on this planet is failing terribly. We're egotistical, we're violent, we're rude, we're cunning, we're angry, we're violent, warlike beings who are doing things to destroy ourselves. And it is not for them to interfere in our evolution. And the best thing that they can do is try to hold us up whichever way they can that doesn't involve directly intervening on us. It's our place to do all this for ourselves. We've created this for ourselves. And they've given us warnings. They've tried everything that they can think of to do here to help. And it's not working. It's very frustrating for them. Most people don't sit down and consider life here the way we're living it right now and see it in the real light of day. In other words, for what's really going on. And the best I can tell you is an outside observer is watching us fall to pieces and go a little nuts in the process. And while all this is going on, we have a big event coming, and we should be better prepared for it, period. We should be working together more. We shouldn't be treating each other the way we do. And yeah, it's the whole ball of wax, all of it.
So I've recently come. I'm sorry, Coley, what's up, by the way?
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Hello.
I had some internet issues and then something real weird noise came down my neighborhood, so I had to go look. I apologize. But yeah, great to see you, Dolly, and hear you speak. And Preston. Yeah, great to see you guys. I've been excited. So I don't want to interrupt or anything because I know you're on a roll. That's one thing, Dolly, I have to say, 1000% my favorite thing about you is you tell it like it is and you do it with such strength and such power. Like I love that about you. I've seen in every interview, that fire in you is just like inspiring. So
Confidence,
I just had to
too.
tell you real
Confidence and like she's very confident and
Yeah,
assertive.
authority.
And
Like,
she's like,
and she
you know-
stops people too. Yeah, I've seen her do it on the panel. She's like, nope, and she was right too. And I was glad she did like that because not a lot of people do. So
It's
yeah,
so funny
thank you for
because
that.
you guys are like polar opposites. Well, I mean, I will say because in the one hand, Preston,
Yeah,
you speak with knowledge and authority from that perspective because you
Oh,
know
yeah.
your stuff. But you do it in a more like laid back and more calm and like it's very different in terms of how you guys express yourself. It's very, very different, and it's so interesting.
I
that
love
the
it.
two of you
I'm
together.
learning from Dolly. She's right to step in when someone is spouting stuff that they shouldn't be saying, which always kind of makes me stand back and I'm like, well, how do I handle this?
Yeah.
I'm not sure what to do.
And she's on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. Because, it's like Preston's probably, because that's just his demeanor and thinking about, but Dolly, she's right on it. I've seen her do it. And I'm like, that is impressive. So,
It's one of the trademarks of being taught by ET. They only tell the truth. They hold nothing back. And you're never, ever, ever too young or too emotionally bereft of anything to hear the truth. The truth does set you free. There are a lot of people that have said that outright, and they're exactly correct. My experience gives me the authority to speak the way that I do. And most people don't deal with that on this planet anymore. They're not taught that there is authority, honest authority, true authority, not the authority I'm going to wham you over the head or throw you behind bars or
Okay.
prosecute you,
Violence.
but authority of truth telling, okay, and wisdom from that experience. And that's what ET hopes everybody here learns to employ. That's why they want you to learn to use your abilities. That's why they want you to seek knowledge, know all that is knowable, and then you proceed. We're running around like crazy people right now, and it's not healthy for anybody, So,
Great kindness to tell the truth, even if it hurts and it's destroying your belief system. It's ultimately beneficial for you.
I think it does more. I agree with you. I think it does more damage on your soul and on your being. And that's what I've found. Like, with things, it's like, if I'm not being and telling the truth, like you can't, it just feels like a horrible feeling. So I appreciate that. And people need to understand, like it's okay to tell the truth. Like it's okay to talk about these things that, oh, maybe, but they're a part of it. And that's like the realness, like, Marquise and I can bring to the table now. So yes, bring it
Yeah.
on. Like we want to hear all of it.
My
And
fervent,
especially the out of body experience. But yeah.
yeah, my fervent wish is that nobody dies stupid. Okay.
That was my favorite thing. What did you
That's
say?
why I said it
What were your
Something
exact
going,
words? No,
yeah.
Dolly, hold on. Dolly, what were your exact words? Because I remember them. I have a quote, right? My favorite quote of all time.
Stupid.
Hold on.
Yeah, nobody should die stupid on
It
this
was
planet. Nobody.
well, it was something to the effect of like, life's a bitch and then you die, and I don't want to die stupid or something like that.
That's
I
right.
can't think of how
Yeah,
you
you got
said
it.
something
You
like
got it.
that.
Well said. Well
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can't save everyone, but moving
No,
forward, it's like,
absolutely. That's right.
man,
Yeah.
we tried to warn you.
Yeah, that was
Some people
that
get
was
really hostile when they're confronted with truth.
Oh, I
Because
know.
if you're
yeah.
mired in delusion, it's very difficult to extract yourself from that. I
Yeah.
know because I was in it. I was absolute in denial. And it was a very difficult process finding out UFOs were real. Took me a year of just trying to paddle and keep my head above water just to deal with that simple truth. And I didn't actually even see one. I was just learning about it. You can't imagine what happens to people who are confronted with it, and boom, there goes their belief system.
Well, I've actually been two things that I want to say about that. The first thing is, you guys know my experience. I don't want another one, but I will say there's this new theory that I've come across, and I don't know. I'm still trying to figure things out. So Dolly knows that I'm still struggling. I've been struggling since we talked, since before we talked about what all is going on and what the phenomena is and everything. I'm still trying to figure that out. So Dolly knows I'm conflicted, but I will say there is one that is very interesting lately, and I want to, if you could speak to it, about the idea that there's this intelligence or cosmic consciousness or godlike being that is potentially, it's like not just, like, think of a god, but it's like it's a evolved, a being from another dimension, or from a that experiences time differently than us, of course, because we experience time now, but there's a time that exists past, present, and future all at one time that other dimensions could possibly perceive and navigate through, by the way. So the idea is that there's this being that has made this whole thing for us, this whole orchestra of the universe and life for us and other beings. And there's another being that has through the time has evolved in this creation, but it is mischievous, and that this being has discovered us. And the whole idea of us having, like, wars and being so violent towards each other and having such chaos in the world, why it gets worse and worse, and yet the population keeps growing and growing, is because this being, and of course its cohorts, they are feeding off that negative energy. And not only that, but they're actually planning on, at some point, to take, kind of like cohabitate with us, but not like in a physical form, in our physical form, in conjunction with us, literally physically. There's this other aspect to the theory where, when you die, the Greys are like waiting for you in spaceships, and they're gonna put you back into this world to reincarnate, only to suffer more, so they can feed off that energy. Or, but and again, there's like this grand scheme with this intelligence.
Yeah. Can I stop you?
By all
I want
means,
to stop.
it's
It's a
so
bit.
bizarre. It's so bizarre.
It is bizarre. It is the latest, greatest new attempt to frighten the hell out of you about what you don't understand yet. And I'm going to give it to you straight here. All right. No such reality as that. None. ETs are very well aware that there is a intelligence. It is the all mind. They call it all mind. You call it God. It is a being that we all live with in source. We're part of it. We're part of the mind of the all mind. In the universe, every point of matter, all of it, every proton is part of that mind. That's why you hear stories growing up about God knows everything you think and say. It sure does. We all hear it as well. You're not using your abilities right now, so you're not perceiving that. But in no way did it create a being, or a being created itself to be evil and come after us. That is not true. What we have going on in the third dimension, and I'm just going to stick it to the third dimension, because here's where we're locked into gravity. We're locked into not being able to see that we're beings of light. We're locked into having to do everything the hard way. Wisdom is not something that you have in source. You can know everything in source and still not have wisdom. We come into the third dimension as part of the system of the mind of the all mind, where we come here to learn hard lessons, hard way, to employ wisdom, to leave here with that knowledge. The reason we have karma and we come back over and over again is if you don't finish something in the life you were at, you come back to start at that point and move forward again until you get it. One of the fails of this iteration of human beings on this planet is that we have denied knowledge. We've denied the ability to connect with our consciousness. Your consciousness is who you really are. It's driving the boat you're in right now, your body. And it is fully well aware of everything that you are, all of it, remembers everything because that's who you are. But your physical mind isn't connecting up to it. It's been denied to you. It's been frightened out of you, beat out of you, used out of you, told stories to you so you don't know. And the worst of it is no education to you about it. We have to wake up. That's what ET means by wake up. Your reality is that you are an eternal being. You are consciousness itself, and you're operating in the physical body that you started to indwell at conception to be here. And when this body is no longer viable or usable, it passes away, and you move on to the next thing, and you're in source again and going over the life that you've been in. The only two things that you take with you from here are love and everything that that entails, encompasses, and employs, and wisdom. The same thing, everything you've learned, all experiences, all knowledge, all of it. Human beings who are egotistical, who are like power, they get a taste of power, they've done that to themselves. They've chosen this negativity. They've chosen this evilness. It is them. All of the people on this planet can be either one side or the other. Take your pick. There really is no gray area. You either are or you aren't, unless you're sitting in the middle and you're uneducated and you don't know what to choose or why. Okay. Human beings, the human mind is fragile. The physical mind is, and it can be broken by hate, by fear, by all kinds of things, and it is habitual. Our minds are habitual for a reason, so we don't kill ourselves. So we learn that hot is hot and cold is cold, and jumping off of roofs is not a good idea. You hurt yourself. That's the habituality of our physical mind. And if you habitualize it toward evil and violence and wanting power exclusively, that's on you. Nobody else, you. And if you see everybody else doing it and you don't have the knowledge to stop you from it, or at least explain to yourself why this isn't a good idea, then you're going to fall into that trap. And the world is full of misinformation, and you just spouted a ton of it. This is not good. Yeah. There are people on this planet who want you to be afraid, and they'll use and employ any means to do so. And it's happening right now. They don't want you to know the truth. They want you to be a viable slave to them and do their bidding.
Yeah, just to be clear, I never said I believe that, by the way. That's just, it was so interesting.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm itching to comment on this too, because this is a big issue in this field. And there are major researchers like Jacques Vallée, I'll name him because he's put it forth, that this is not ET, it's a phenomenon. It's an intelligence that's wearing a mask and masquerading as ETs. Lauren Coleman, John Keel, there's a number of major researchers. I will say that most of the researchers, people like Bud Hopkins, John Mack, David Jacobs, Barbara Lamb, Yvonne Smith, the ones who focus on firsthand encounter cases and onboard experiences, don't believe that. They say we're dealing with ETs. That's what I think. I think the evidence speaks very loudly towards that. The vast majority of contactees also believe it's extraterrestrial. As far as this, quote, intelligence, this is kind of related to the whole demonic theory of ETs, which is not true either. I've got books on the whole demonic phenomena. I've investigated demonic hauntings. It follows a very set pattern of manifestation, and it doesn't belong under the UFO umbrella. And it's being shoved under there along with a bunch of other stuff like elves and fairies and so forth, which are real, but they are a different type of entity. They are not ET. There are interdimensional entities. There are all kinds of spirits. There's Bigfoot. There's near-death experiences. And you cannot conflate these all together with pure speculation. I looked at Jacques Vallée. He's like, these are the 5 reasons why I think they're not ET. And it's bogus. He says there's too many encounters. It's purely speculative. There's no actual evidence to point towards this not being ET. And the fact is, our government knows, our governments, our secret governments, knows precisely what this is because they have the craft. They have the bodies. If that were released, it would be all bets off. We know. And the fact is, implants are being put in people's bodies. Contactees sometimes have babies with the ETs, and they see these babies throughout their lives. They're taken on board and meet with them. Why are UFOs hovering over nuclear power sites? Why are they hovering over schools and landing in 1/3 of the case? If you look at the behavior of the quote UFOs, it's exactly the sort of things we would be doing. They are extraterrestrials. They are people like us. I'm sticking to my guns with this. People have called me naive. You don't know. You should consider Jacques Vallée's theories. Oh, believe me, I have. And I want to get my hands on Jacques Vallée and have a nice long talk with him. Because I
Love
have
it.
questions.
Yeah, you're
No,
right though.
no,
But he's
no.
right. As an
What are these
experiencer, when
implants?
you hold
Explain
that,
that
like
to me.
you know, yeah, it's different. Like,
Yeah.
for somebody to take it, like, I don't know, it bothers me, and I'm going to say this, and I'm sorry for the non-experiencers, but they don't, and not against you, Preston. You've done your time and your work, and you like to understand us, but you're not going to instantly come across an experiencer and they're just getting in this and looking at the data, and I'm like, you're missing everything. Like everything. You have no idea what it's like because it's so different. And I grew up seeing spirits. I can tell the difference between the two. And they are totally different. And the things that happen and the changes that happened in me were undeniable. And what I came in
Throw away
contact
their
with,
belief
so it's
systems.
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
They really do. And just look at this objectively.
Right. But and I think it's when you said before that you think it'd be harder to be an experiencer. I don't think so because I was confronted with the first one I saw, it was 30 feet away. It was 50 foot in diameter. You can't deny that. I don't care. Like there was like your neighbor with me and you saw it, we're like, I have pictures of it. Mufan came invest, like that point on, there was no question in my mind if they were real. And that's like, so I think it would be harder to be on your end, like not to be an experiencer and to understand. And because you hear there's things only experiencers understand. And there's a lot of things that aren't talked about that you go through and emotionally go through after like you've been abducted. Like there's like 3 days I almost feel like I have the flu. I distance myself. I have to, so there's that part of it. But then when I come back, like, and I realize the benefits and then I'm able to process it, it's a totally different experience. So yeah, I really appreciate you saying that and the way that you stated it. It made so much sense. So my rant's over, but yes, thank you, Preston.
So
yeah, there's nothing like having a personal experience. I mean, that changes everything.
So you think that they're all separate, like for the Bigfoot phenomena, ghost and paranormal activity, and of course the extraterrestrial phenomena. That's all separate. They're not all the same thing. So you're saying you kind of there's a divergence or there's
It'd be like saying a fish is the same as a monkey, as the same as a tiger, as the same. They connect, I'm sure, but they're totally different in nature.
Okay, I want to jump in.
Absolute commonalities.
I want to jump in. All life is connected. All of us have DNA. Fish have DNA. Plants have DNA. Yep. Everything has DNA. ET has DNA. We're all connected this way throughout the universe in the third dimension. Okay, we are related to one another. You have not a chimpanzee, but a bonobo, which is a South American type of a gorilla, small one, has more to do with you than a chimpanzee. Is 99% of your DNA configuration. That's serious. Okay, you have a lot to do with bananas. Bananas have a lot to do with you.
Yeah, fruit flies.
There's a whole thing. All right, what I want you to understand is everything is a classroom. You don't go through this universe. You don't go through time. You don't exist without learning. Every single dimension that we employ or are in, we're learning something, and there are 12 of them. There's a reason for that. Like I said before, it's to gain wisdom, to understand science, to learn all that is knowable, literally all. What it is that it's different classrooms. We're all entities. When we die, we leave our bodies. Some of us don't choose to leave this area right away, and we hang out, and people are seeing them, ghosts. Okay, There are people who just haven't gone to the other side yet. They're hanging out here for whatever reason. Some of them are unable to because they just don't know where they are. Then there are demonic entities who are, I'm just going to say it straight out. You can choose to be evil and you can choose to do away with yourself that way. And you can become so evil that you're demonized and that you can't leave here anymore because you're stuck here being evil, period. And you evolve into these things that people, when they see them, they freak out, you know? And all you have to do is realize that this person is in their own private hell here as a demon, and they can't really hurt you or touch you because you're more powerful than that. And you just say, get out, you know, shine light on them, whatever it takes. Show them that the light's the better place to be. Then there are other dimensions like fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, all the way up to the 12th. Each one of those is a different existence for us. That's where we're living in them. You haven't just lived in the third dimension. You've lived in all of the other ones, clean across the universe. You move back and forth. You take turns. You're learning. Evolution of soul is that you get all the way up in the 12th and you don't have to do anything anymore anywhere else. You're on the same level as the all mind. And what happens after that, I can only speculate on. I can tell you it's pretty cool. I have never met anyone, of course, because they've already moved on to that. But there's another realm for you to go through after that because you've learned everything you can learn. You can employ your ability as an entity, as a spirit. That was given. That's the gift that was given to us by the All Mind. We're all part of the All Mind, but we've been given autonomy. Free will is what that is, to do and learn for ourselves, period. So if you see a ghost, if you see an ET, we're all still in source together. ET have death and life just like we do, and they come from the same bloody place, but they're in a classroom like we are, and they're learning their existence in that particular classroom. And the third dimension is a really big one, and there's lots of different rooms in this place. See?
So there's something else that I want to understand because again, you know, I don't understand it fully. I don't get it. So why do you think there's such a diversity of phenomena? Why not have something more unified? Or I mean, in terms of like the nature of existence itself, why are there so many different phenomena? You mentioned demons, which has a lot of, that's pretty tied. There's a lot tied to that word. There's a whole history behind it, in a whole, like, you know, ethos behind it. But why do you think?
But
there
like
is
maybe
that?
it means it's more simpler than that. Like instead of
It
going through
can
like
be. Yeah, it can be,
yeah.
but it's every opportunity to learn is presented to you in this particular existence. So if you're going to meet a demon, learn how to deal with it. If you're going to meet a soul who's trapped here, deal with that. If you're going to meet somebody who's on their way to being a demon and being stupid, try to educate them. That's
So
your job. We're
you
supposed
think
to
that
help one
people become those things?
Yes,
Yes.
That's
exactly.
Oh,
okay. That's what I
definitely.
wanted to know.
They-
Okay.
They're
Oh
not
boy.
born different. They make themselves that
Okay.
way. Yep.
I've heard this
Yep.
before. Please allow me for the audience. So, at one point, I was told that there. Well, let me rephrase it. I learned a theory that there are these phenomena that seem malicious. They pose as one thing and another. They tell you secrets and things you shouldn't know. They are able to perform miracles, if you will, or phenomena and magic, and give you abilities or torment you, like poltergeists. And it's actually like us. When you die, some people, after living a life that's pretty terrible or that have done terrible things in their life and never changed, they become these entities that lose themselves. They lose the sense of what they were, but they retain the energy that they carried over from this life, and they come back to literally just torment us. They actually discover, and the idea is that they discover us like we discover them.
Right.
I don't.
Like, yeah.
I see this a little bit different. Like, okay, so as a children's therapist, I did this for 7 years. Like, you agree, I believe, to your lifetime of what's to come. When you come across somebody with no empathy, with no, like, there's like a soul. Like, I have had it happen before where there's like no soul. I swear to you, like that soul is so damaged. There's no coming back. And the story that what happened with this child, like that right there is going to produce. I mean, the
You got to understand that's a
change.
physical trait. Yeah, that's
Right. We
people are
can't
born demons.
change like
Can't
what this
the
is
soul
by
locked
the
in the body that
definition.
doesn't work right. Yeah, and they
Yeah.
can't be mentally ill and broken, and they can't
You can't fix them.
communicate with you on any level whatsoever because they're completely thrown into their own mind and they can't get out of it. And we have different mental states, like narcissism. There are different degrees of that. There are severe personality disorders, and they branch out in about a 14 to 15
Reactive attachment disorder.
Right, exactly. And that's a physical problem with the actual physical mind. The soul indwelling the body at that time is locked in and can't do anything. And what you don't realize is that might be the lesson for this soul, to be trapped in that and to learn from it. What I'm talking about is that there are people who actually practice to be evil. And yes, they can be deluded, they can be angry, they can be egotistical, they can be the most black narcissist you've ever met in your life, but they're fully 100% cognizant of what they're doing. And these are the demons in practicing.
So I'm
I
curious.
swear to you, like there were times where I was so creeped out, like when a 3-year-old is telling you how they're gonna murder their parents.
I
Yeah.
read about that.
You know what I mean? And
As
you're just
well.
looking because there's a drop in all my clients. There were profiled out that potentially a certain percent of them would be serial killers. And there's just a density that changes when you're in the room with them that
Yeah.
you just like feel like, like I don't know, like the Omen, Damien's there, like right with you.
Well, they're not
That's
necessarily
a
blank
feeling.
slates. We all have past lives. We all have issues to work through. According to traditional fundamental religious theory, there are demons and angels which are technically, according to them, and they're dealing with their own perceiving the world through their belief system, are non-human spirits. An angel was not a human. And according to some religious school of thought, demons were never human either. But there are different types. Ed and Lorraine Warren, they were very well-known demonologists, and they said there's both. There are human demonic spirits, and there are ones that were never human.
That's a lie. It's not true. Absolutely not true. This is not how this works. I'm going to be seriously strict here, okay? This is where misinformation, religious misinformation, is hurting humanity, has hurt humanity for years. All of us are in source together, okay? And when we come here, we're either human here or human over there, like an E.T. Gray, Tall Gray. They're human as well, okay? We're all come in here to be human and to learn. There is no such thing as a non-human. We are all human. If you look at the genomes, and they've got genetics from ETs, you bet you do. And they're not telling you the truth about that either. They know they're related to us. They know we're related to them. We are genetically alike. You couldn't breed back and forth if you weren't. These are scientific, knowledgeable facts. And they know that the Bible has taught misinformed because of dreaming, delusional dreaming on the part of people who didn't understand. It's
trying
not
to figure things out, and they didn't
right.
have all
No,
the
and they didn't
knowledge.
get it right. And it's been propagated, and science has been able to figure this stuff out for years, but they're not telling you. They don't want you to know the truth. They want you to stay in the paradigm of that religion because they rule you with it. It holds you into its precepts. It doesn't allow you to free think for yourself. You have to believe this, or you're going to go to hell, or that kind of thing. It's not okay.
Everyone
It's
human,
absolutely
though, are
not.
called humanoid. I mean, Bigfoot, I'm not sure I would call them human, but humanoid.
Humanoid.
but-
That's exactly right.
So
And
we'll
I
do
love
this.
that point you made, Dolly, because that's exactly what I was trying to get across. It's like we can put all these big terms on it and these big definitions on them, but it doesn't change the fact of this is the occurrence of what is going on. And I truly believe like some of those were like deep, and I think that the bloodline, if you're looking at genetics, like it was always followed, like the blood, it's
Yeah, it
always
can.
in the family. Yeah.
It can
When I
absolutely.
saw it, and
From
so
source.
when you said that,
All
when
entities
that
come
was
from
making
source.
that, I was curious if you thought like that type of situation, like that's what came to my mind instantly.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. We choose. We all of us choose. This goes back to our economy. We all have the right to choose what we're going to be and how we're going to do it. And unfortunately, it can get wacko for some people. And it's sad to watch in a particular lifetime because, you can meet somebody and they're completely evil. And then you go on they die, you die, and you're following each other out, and the conversation is going to be weird because they're terrified about what's coming at them because they don't know the truth. Okay, and you do. And it's really hard to communicate to this entity, this other person, that it's not what you think it is. And you need to drop all this drama and this crazy stuff that you're spouting and just shut up and let the universe teach you the right way. You know, what's the truth, and remember your lives and do whatever it takes. And that's what happens to people when they leave here. They're operating at such a evil sunken level that they have to go somewhere and deprogram themselves. They have to be talked to, debriefed. They have to be allowed time to come through it and originate out of it. There have been, I know about one, only one, I was taught this by Talata, where you can destroy your own existence. If you go so low that you can never crawl back from it or wake up, you die. You erase yourself out of existence. And I know of one instance where that happened. I was told implicitly that this person did this to themselves. These are things that we should know from the beginning of our lives, every life you live. You should wake up aware. Our children are. Marquise, you got kids that are psychic as hell, don't you?
They are quite interesting,
yes.
all of them.
Yes. Yeah, they know. They still have it in them. It hasn't been talked out of them yet. With all the intrusions from this life, from the way we're living our society. And they could very well walk into their existence here open, wide awake, aware, able to function properly here and do what it is they have to do. But they don't, because we're here choosing not to let them. And it's everybody's fault on this planet. By not saying the truth to people, you are aiding and abetting the bad, negative stuff. And we need to stop doing that. And it's going to take waking up to do it.
Somebody asked, how is that possible to get so many people involved? I said, well, when you're 5 years old, why don't you walk around your neighborhood and ask all your neighbors if Santa Claus is real or not? And then you'll find out exactly how it is possible.
Wow.
Yeah. Or teach your children to read. Your children can learn how to read before they're 3 years old. People don't believe that. You're not taught that. But yes, because you're already pre-programmed. The whole time your mom's pregnant with you, you're listening to whatever language is being spoken around you. You're able to make those connections and learn how to do it. Wait until they're 5 is really kind of crazy to me. Start teaching them very, very young. Get flashcards, get a chalkboard, start writing words. You will be astounded how fast they catch up to that and can actually read. Knowledge is the best way to get knowledge is to teach your children to teach themselves, not depend on somebody else to give you knowledge, because that's another problem with our society. We're so busy being told that we don't do for ourselves. We don't actually push out and try to teach ourselves. And that's bad, like we have people who I'm going to say this, I'm so sorry, suck on the teeth of the government, okay?
Say it loud. Say it loud and clear.
Said
the
Dolly
government.
Unfiltered. Yeah. Follow her on OnlyFans for all the naughty words.
The government. Yeah, no, I'll say it all. She's talking about the government. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, well, they are messing us up.
Yes.
Literally. Who you think is governing you is not. It's somebody else completely, and it's worldwide. And they've got you by the throat, literally by the throat, because you're literally unable to function without the word from them. Cut it out. Get off that train. Start reading on your own. Go to a bona fide library and start reading. Start reading about the sciences, the arts, everything. Anything you can put in your head, whatever you have a proclivity for. Teach yourself. That's the best.
And experience it.
What's so interesting about Dolly's story and her experiences with the ETs is when they taught her something, it wasn't something that they just told her. They demonstrated it. They showed it to her to a point where she would wear the knowledge in actual knowing as opposed to belief, because there's a big difference there. People are talking about, I believe this, I believe that, I believe I identify as this or that, or know. You know knowledge. You don't believe knowledge. You know it.
Right.
I can say that they showed experiences, like, to me, like it was holographic, like they projected and it all played out, and then their memory, like in where we have to think back, no, they're right there. They just, whole thing is recreated just as it happened. It's unbelievably like amazing that, but they show you, and like I think that helps so much. It's like, and we don't have necessarily the same words or the same understanding, but those pictures and playing out scenarios, that's what I found to be the most powerful.
Very
Yeah,
much
just
so.
real quick, I just want to tell you, we got to at the end of the hour, I have to play. We got to do kind of like a intermission type thing for just 3 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes,
Okay.
because radio. So I didn't know. Again, I'm new, I'm still trying to learn this, but we're kind of doing our own thing now, so we have to try to be respectful to the radio station. But it's like a 3 minute break every hour until the end, of course. And I do have something special for everyone. It is actually a video that I worked on and created along with the theme song that we have for the show. I've really been working on a lot of things on the back end, so just bear with me. It's gonna
You
take
come out with
yeah.
like a bang, like you don't even all of a sudden it's like there, and I'm like, what?
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is
It took
great.
it took me a
Yeah,
while,
that's awesome.
friggin' hours.
Thank
to do
you,
that.
Marquis.
But it was
Yeah.
awesome, and I'm really excited about it. So just again, a couple minutes here, I'll play it. But I just wanted to. So chat is going. They're going crazy. So let's say I want to save a couple things here. I see you guys. Don't worry, I'm not ignoring. I see you. Just bear with me. The one thing that I want to ask you is, you said you believe in like a god, right?
I know
I'm
there is. I know there is an Almighty. I know
okay.
it. I've spoken with it. It's a very chatty. When you're psychic, when you're wide open psychic, you can communicate with it. It hears you. You can. It'll answer you. It'll give you information. No kidding.
So after
and
the
you know.
after the break, I want to ask you more specifically about the nature of this, what you believe, based off your experiences of what the nature of this God is. I also want to know if you think that this is all orchestrated, or is this like a natural expression? Like, is creation like something that just happened, or is there a creation? Is this God created? Is this God eternal? Like, what is the nature of this whole thing, God, and this thing that you're aware of? But we're gonna do that break before then. So everyone, hang tight. We will be right back. There will be a few seconds for me to figure out how to play this video. So don't don't hold on one second. Well, actually, oh my gosh, I'm so terrified to ruin this.
No, this is our first pre-recorded, so we're glad to have you guys here with us. Yeah, so we're figuring that out.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
And so
It's
So
gonna be okay.
this is actually this is live, but
Right.
but the thing is we're recording this because we are gonna be live on radio tomorrow. So everything we do is actually in preparation for what we're going to be doing tomorrow. That's kind of how this works. So that's, like I said, just hang tight. Give me 1 second to figure out how to do this whole. This
Yeah,
is
we
such
thought it'd be cool to live stream it with you guys. So
yeah.
Wow.
I think it's gonna be awesome. I got it. All right, so hang tight, everyone. You're gonna see a bit of an intermission, and then we'll be right back. All right, guys, hold on.
Keith and Coley, they're ready to go. Aliens, UFOs, and the unknown. The talk show is buzzing, the excitement grows. Exploring the mystery. Keith and Coley, they're ready to go. Talking about aliens.
So it's not working. Hang tight, everyone. I'm working on it. I'm so sorry. Hold on.
The talk show is buzzing, the excitement
Sorry, guys.
grows.
I'm working on it. I'm so sorry. It's so hard to do this thing.
The mysteries that the universe holds. Get ready to dive into the world of the paranormal. Welcome to the Coley and Marty Show, where we uncover the secrets that nobody knows. From aliens
I'm sorry. I thought we just couldn't hear it like the last time. So we can edit this out.
Keith and Coley, they're ready to go.
Yeah, we can edit
But
it out.
yeah, no, I'm
s-
so
I feel
glad
so
to
terrible.
hear.
Yeah, sorry. Just give me
Aliens,
just hang
UFOs,
tight.
Yeah.
the unknown.
Yes. How
I
are you
just found
feeling?
you on YouTube. You are live.
Man, yeah.
You are definitely live.
So
So
last
just
time
hold
I
on.
saw, well,
Hold on,
last time I
Coley.
saw you weren't feeling so good. So everything go okay?
Yeah, I had COVID, and I was like trying.
Guys,
very
hold on
hard
one
not
second.
to
Hold on.
have
We are
COVID.
live, guys. We're still live. Hold on. I'm sorry. Just hang tight for me. I apologize for this. It's a technical issue that I'm literally working on right now. So just bear with me, okay? I'm so
Oh, it's
sorry.
okay.
I'm so sorry.
I just didn't know if we could hear the music or
Then
not.
so everybody can hear us, and nothing is just. So they're all probably like, "What's going on?" Yeah, this
We're
is
all
like a
just, like,
completely.
kicking
This is a
back, like,
total
hey.
failure, total epic fail. So just
No, it's a
No, you're
learning
cool.
lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
last in there. Trust me.
All
I'm
right,
like,
guys.
Well, thanks for warning us. 'cause
Yeah,
God knows
forewarning,
what
we
that
are
come out.
live. We are live. But I'm gonna play.
Okay.
I got it. I finally got it. So we're gonna go to true intermission now, and just bear with me on the true intermission here. So,
I'm gonna mute just until this happens.
Just we're almost. Yeah, give me 1 second, and I'm gonna fix that. Yep, I'll fix that right now. Here we go.
Keith and Coley, they're ready to go. Talking about aliens, UFOs, and the unknown. The talk show is buzzing, the excitement grows. Exploring the mysteries that the universe holds. Get ready to dive into the world of the paranormal. Welcome to the Coley and Marky Show, where we uncover the secrets that nobody knows. From aliens to UFOs, we're ready to explore. Strap in and get ready for a wild ride for sure. Fearless and bold, not afraid to ask questions that challenge all we think we grasp. Every episode brings a new task to uncover the truth beneath the mask. Believe in the unbelievable. Open your mind. Welcome to the Coley and Marky Show, where we uncover the secrets that nobody knows. From aliens to UFOs, we're ready to explore. Strap in and get ready for a wild ride for sure. Welcome to the Coley and Marky Show, where we uncover the secrets that nobody knows. From aliens to UFOs, we're ready to explore. Strap in and get ready for a wild ride for sure. Welcome to the Coley and Marky Show, where we uncover the secrets that nobody knows. From aliens to UFOs, we're ready to explore. Strap in and get ready for a wild ride for sure.
Welcome back, everybody. Give me 1 second, and I will bring us back in. I figured out the technical difficulties, so now next time it'll be so much smoother when I do the break. I'm so sorry. That was so embarrassing. Okay, Dolly, Preston, we are back live again. Welcome back, everybody. If you're just joining in, this is the Coley and Marquise show with me, Marquise and Coley, and we are talking to Preston and Dolly about, well, right now, the nature of existence. I know this is deep, but you guys can handle it. I think you can handle it. So let's go on this ride, and let's answer the question that I had before we went to the show, and that was, what is the nature of this God, and is the universe created, or what is it, something that just emerged from a natural process?
Okay, I'm going to give you the scientific data on it first. Okay,
Okay.
there have been a lot of theories about the Big Bang, and they've got the new telescope out there that's off planet and it's out in space and it's starting to see things, and they're starting to wake up or at least start to be honest about what they're really seeing. One of them is that our universe is eternal. It is. They don't know if it has a beginning or an end. They just know that there was no Big Bang because they've gone out to the furthest reaches of our galaxy that they can photograph, and they found out that there's just as much more after that further out. And it totally blows all of their explanations for this place. So understand that it is eternal. The being that we are part of, inside of, with it, in its mind, in all of this, it's not created, it's thought. It's pure thought. And as we are pure thought, when we leave our bodies, we can make anything we want to. We can exist in any paradigm that we want to, free of the body. And it has always existed as we have always existed. So it's really hard to say we were created. We are a part of an eternal being, as we are also eternal with this being. I think once you understand, or you've evolved enough to get to the point where you know that everything that is learnable has no end, okay? That there are other processes besides what we're living in now. And I'm going to refer to it as a paradigm of existence. Our universe is a paradigm of existence. That means that it might not be the only one. There might be others. And scientifically, they've come up with theories for that, but no proof yet. And I don't know if they're going to be proof as we are right now. Okay, absolute proof, but it exists. The idea that we are in this universe and there are parallel universes with us. String theory kind of tries to explain that. They go a little overboard in string theory because they want to see more than 12 dimensions. There are only 12. They try to imagine that there could be thousands of them, trying to explain what a parallel universe would be. That's not how it works. In this universe, there are 12. I think that every other parallel universe has the same setup. If you think about our mind, our body's a template for what goes on eternally in this universe. Our existence is the story of how we came into being, not created, but into being. And your mind is full of synapses and cells that communicate with one another. And it's a physical paradigm that you're in here. But once you're free of the body, it doesn't mean that the light that you are, the intelligence that you are, the energy that you are is gone. It's not. It goes on. And with all of us being the same, you can think of us all being together in this universe as the synapse of great mind and all mind. When I was younger, I wanted to prove to myself, because I was taught by ET this understanding of what they know. And I had to prove it to myself. And I spent a lot of time trying to come up with a way, like an experiment, to prove it psychically, because that was my only alternative other than physical, and there was no physical way to prove it. So I worked on talking to the all mind. I had long conversations with it all the time, and every now and then I'd get answers. It got better and better and better as I moved along. And when I was about, 12 or 13, I just started junior high school, and I wanted to know something that I didn't know. That was my proof. If I could be taught something by this all mind that I didn't know yet or couldn't understand yet, that would be my proof that it exists. It's speaking to me. And so I put it out there. I want information that I don't know yet, and I need to make sure that I mostly understand what you're teaching me or explaining to me that exists. And sure enough, I got an answer. And I was lucky. I was in an accelerated program in school, and I went to my chemistry teacher and said, I have an idea about something. Will you talk to me about it? And he did. And I said, I'm talking about magnetism and super cooled magnetism on this planet. Could we make anti-gravity by supercharging a conductive material through a magnet? And would it be cold? Does it have to be cold, or does it have to be hot like plasma? And he's staring at me really hard. He said, where did you hear this? And I said, well, I'm just thinking about it. And he bloody turned white as he could. And the blood drained out of his face, in other words. And he said, that's actually being worked on by the Japanese. They're building superconductive rails for trains to be on, elevated trains. And it's antigraph. And he said, I can't get over the fact that you know about this. I went home freaking completely out that, oh, this is it. There is such a thing. There is an all mind out there and it's talking. And I've been talking to it ever since. It has never lied to me. It has only given me answers that I can prove to myself afterwards. In other words, you don't want to teach something to someone that they can't understand or prove for themselves. Conduct their own experiments to verify what they've just learned. And the All Mind does that. It will give you verifiable information for where you're at and the time that you're asking it. And that's what we need to learn we're capable of doing. That's how we learn. You don't just take the word of somebody and just believe it. That doesn't prove anything to you. That doesn't teach you to employ that knowledge. What you have to do is verify it any way you can. And experimentation, scientific understanding, all those things work together so that you can pull yourself together in knowledge to verify it and know that it works. And then you take it a step further. You prove it even further by employing that knowledge, actually making it work. That's how we learn. That's how you should have been learning this whole time you were here. Gossip is the biggest nightmare on this planet. It is one of the biggest tools of evil on this planet. They want you to believe what they say, no matter what, without verification, without understanding, all of it. And so you're walking around in this belief system, and it does all kinds of terrible things to you. It makes you afraid. It makes you angry. It makes you uncertain. You're not able to conduct yourself properly. It's crazy. And this is what I've learned from verifying that an all mind exists, and that what I've been taught by ET is real. This is real. And because you're asking the questions, that means you're ready for the answers. And I want you to think about this hard. You need to start doing your homework and start trying to verify it also. I don't know how you're going to get to that. You might want to employ some of my methodology, but you're ready to hear the truth. Don't ask me. I'm going to tell you what I know and I understand, but I'm still going to charge you with proving it to yourself one way or another. You can be in belief or disbelief till the day you die, but until you know the answer, you're not going to be satisfied. And that's what I'm telling you should do. Okay.
We all have to do our own pathway to the truth. It's
Right.
super interesting because in the book Symmetry, we go into what the ETs think about God. And it's always there when people are being pulled on board. And this is always one of the first things they ask ET is, do you believe in God? And they always, tailor their answer to the person's ability to comprehend. Because some people are very religious and others perhaps not. There was a case in, I think it was Italy, Walter Rizzi. He's had a face-to-face contact with ETs, and he asked them flat out, is there a God? And the ET kind of looked at him in shock and said, well, yeah, you are God. I am God. Everything around us is God. This is God. I was looking at another case in South America somewhere, I think it was Argentina, where a couple was taken on board. He's a pastor. He's a fundamentalist preacher, and she's not. She's not religious. And he goes on board, and he's terrified, and he starts calling on the name of Jesus, banish you, Satan, blah, 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 blah. And they're looking at him, looking at the wife, and she's like, and finally he just rants for an hour, and they're like, are you done? He's like, well, yeah. Let us tell you what is really going on here. And I like this idea because the fact is we are an indivisible part of the universe. We are part of the universe. All of the power of the universe is within us. So we have the ability to understand this because we are it.
So, Dolly, I want to give people in the audience a chance to, because they have some questions for you. So let me go ahead and ask the first question from the YouTube chat. And by the way, in case anybody did not hear me, like I said earlier, please put your questions in all caps. Someone earlier put them in not in all caps, but they put them in small letters. I can't. They just said I can't find it. I'm sorry. So please, just so that I'm just kind of repeating that. Put it in all caps. I'll keep reminding you guys, listen, if you're like me, I forget every 5 seconds. But also, if I didn't ask your question, just ask it again. Maybe by the end of the show, we'll be able to get through all of them. I'm not sure. I don't want to make any promises. So the first question is from Polly. She wants to ask about the Galactic Federation.
No such thing. Does not exist. That is an anthropomorphizing of us on ET. It is false information, misleading, does not exist. You have to understand that ETs are an advanced civilization from us. They are billions of years ahead of us, not thousands, not millions, billions. Their technology is light technology, and their way of doing things is simply they've evolved emotionally, spiritually, morally, in every way, scientifically, in every way that does not include needing somebody to tell you what to do. If they have an issue or something is conflicting them or whatever, and that doesn't go on very often, but when they do, they have a system by which Whitley Strieber had used the word communion. I use the word, it's a type of a connection word, okay? And basically what it is that those of us who are more mature, more knowledgeable, have more wisdom on us, and can answer what you're perplexed about, will speak with you. And it's not just one, you can get it all over the place. And if you're really not satisfied with that, they go to the All Mind. The All Mind will spit it to them and say, think about this, think about that. This is what you need to know. The fact that we are part of all of this does not deny us access to the truth. And the All Mind is the truth. And so no, there's no galactic federation. Nobody's telling you what to do. There are no wars among the ETs. If they're evolved enough to get here, they're not going to be fighting you, us, or anybody else. They are not going to hurt us. They are part of who we are, and they're here to teach. That's it.
So,
Dolly, can I ask you this? Do you think there are rules to the game? I always said that I didn't believe that there is a galactic federation, whatever. But I do feel like there's certain rules that, like, especially I with you on ET, but then what do you think of like the reptilians? Because
the reptilians are from here. They evolved here. We're alongside of them. They're sentient. They're intelligent beings. And the governments of the world here have gotten their hands on them, have done terrible things to them. But you need to feel sorry for them. They are not hurting you or anybody else, and they're not part of anything. The government's been genetically messing with them and all kinds of crazy stuff. So
who's pulling the strings in the government? Because I was always under the understanding that it was like the humanoid extraterrestrials that live among us, the negative ones, like the ones.
No, there are no negative ETs either. That's a lot as well. Yeah, there are no negative ETs.
No, in like the government, like the ones that let's say the reptilians that have been through.
They're not in control of anybody or anything on this planet. They are as victimized as we are, and they're being used to scare you. Okay, it's not true.
So humans are essentially. It sounds like humans, like we. There's an element of humanity that's the problem, not anything else.
Right, exactly. You couldn't have said it any better than that. We are the problem, not ET, us. And we need to grow up. And the rules are this among the ETs. There are no rules. But what they have done is they've developed morality to the point where it's a no-brainer for them. In other words, I'm not going to be evil. I don't choose to be evil. I will never be evil. I will never do a wrong thing. I will never lie. I will never do any of this. This is genetically in them. It can't change. Our genetics are still inundated by genetics, super genetics. What your grandparents did affects you in this lifetime and on down the line, and you can alter how people are being born and how they think. It alters how your physical mind is going to be dealing with things, and it's a little upsetting because we shouldn't have had that happen to us. If you beat somebody long enough, they're going to act like a dog. They're going to be a beaten dog emotionally. And that's what we've turned into because we have masters who are attacking us constantly. You can't think straight out of it. And so we act and see everything from that perspective. And that's how they control your mind and how they control you to make you do their bidding, period. Okay? ET doesn't do that. They've never done that. They've only come here to advise. They've only come here to help, heal, things like that. They've only given knowledge. And we have an issue with this planet and the solar system is we have 12,000-year cycles here where the sun burps and we're in trouble from it. And so we've come back iteration after iteration. Every 12,000 years, we go through a reset. And this particular reset's terrible. I could use a really strong word that I'm not going to use. You wouldn't like it. It's terrible, okay? Just worse than you could possibly imagine. And it's hard on ET to watch. Think about it. You're a parent and your child suddenly takes a turn and goes the wrong way. short of containing them and putting them under house arrest in your house so you can talk them out of it, there's nothing you can do. And you really can't even do that. Once your children are adults, they're on their own. And that's where we are. We're supposed to be adults here, and we're not acting like it at all. Not at all. So
Yeah, that's very true. Very true.
Thank you,
But
Dolly. for-
like that authority as a parent, and it's everybody's, oh, let everybody else make the decisions. I'm like, no, not.
Oh,
Yeah.
by the way, I'm
It
so
does
sorry.
come up.
Uh,
The thought of karma is one of the rules they follow. Ethics, morals, that's the rules that they follow. This comes up in many contactee cases.
So real quick, Polly, I'm sorry. Polly was joking. Her comment was saying she wants to elect Dolly for the president of the Galactic Federation. I apologize.
no, not my
That was
circus,
a-
not my
that
monkeys.
was a
Thank you.
joke.
No.
That
No,
was a
no,
joke.
no.
I
Okay.
didn't catch it. I'm so stupid.
Yeah.
I'm so stupid.
We formally nominate. Don't even give that.
She steps down. She's like, I don't want it. So
No.
That's how propaganda gets started. Yeah.
yeah, now it's okay. My apologies. We corrected that for the record on live. So there's a question by Christine. Christine, I got you. Dolly Preston, do they help us? Sorry, do they help either of you with health challenges? I think you've answered this question before. Actually, both of you have, I believe. But I'll let you
Yes.
take.
I'll
Yeah.
go first in it. Well, Preston, do you want to go first with this one?
Well, I can't say that I personally have been helped. It wouldn't surprise me because there have been a few times I'm like, wow, I'm feeling much better. I've had, some out-of-body experiences along the lines which were very healing. I think to a certain extent that's connected. But I will say that healing is a big part of the ET agenda. I wrote a book about this. First book I wrote, UFO Healings. I reissued it as The Healing Power of UFOs because there's 300 plus cases from pretty much every major researcher out there. This is undeniable that when these healing cases, there's so many of them.
I have had one. Yeah.
I'm telling you, this is
Mhm.
absolutely a thing. And I've got a list of all the things people have been healed of, which is everything from little cuts and bruises and broken bones and stomach aches and back aches to kidney stones and liver disease, heart disease, vision problems, diabetes, diphtheria, cancer, AIDS. I mean, you name it. It's probably on the list somewhere.
I lost my whole right side. And it wasn't until ET, like I had no balance, nothing. I had 2 discs replaced in my neck and I didn't recover. The doctor
wow.
said the
Yeah.
curve is you're not going to get any better. My hands all swollen. I got like just one medical condition. I had like to take antibiotics for 2 years straight. I didn't think I was going to make it through it. And it wasn't until the second encounter with ET, I was 50%. And as they continued, I am like way stronger than I've ever been.
Yeah.
I am way like, I mean, and just, I'm like, I didn't have any feeling in my thumb. I had to teach myself how to like hold a spoon and feed myself. Like that's how bad it was. And
Yeah.
it wasn't until ET, and you can't, it was like, even the MUFON Dave's like, wow, I can't believe it. Like, look at you now, like how much, and he saw me partway through. So I was like, it's just crazy. Like that, that happened. Definitely.
Yeah.
So you had a healing experience, Dolly?
My whole life is a jumble of that. My poor mother couldn't get pregnant. She had polycystic ovarian syndrome, 6 years in the marriage, no babies. And my dad's in the Army, and the Army decided to hit my mother up with cobalt radiation in both her ovaries and her pituitary gland. And they gave her 3 rounds of it, and they said, you can't get pregnant for a year. After the last round, that's it. Life is funny because I showed up a week. She became pregnant with me about a week after her last round. My entire family was terrified I was going to be deformed and had all kinds of problems. I was not visibly anyway. I had a twin. My twin was absent at birth and just not there. They knew I had a twin because the cord, we were identical in 2 cords in one placenta. It freaked them out. I have 11 different major issues because of radiation and altering me. And my brother had quite a few as well. And every time something really, really went wrong with that, because it's not my karma, they would rapidly repair me as fast as they could. My immune system doesn't know me as self. It attacks me constantly. And if I get sick with something, it can ravage me. And first time it happened, I had mononucleosis, infectious mononucleosis at almost the age of 6. And my spleen burst and I died. Luckily, the doctor was right there with me when it happened. And I came back and they got me to the hospital and they got me taken care of. Here's the miraculous part. Once your spleen bursts, it's usually taken out. When they got me there and they started looking at the situation, it had already started healing. And I have 3 scars in my spleen that it's unexplainable how they get there. It stopped me from bleeding to death. And I can only attribute that to ETs. I've been
Dolly, just for a second, you died. You just said
Yes.
you died.
Yeah,
So
I did.
you've had like,
Yeah.
so I've never known that about you.
Oh,
I didn't know
yeah,
that.
it's in the book. Yeah, I died. When it happened, I left my body and I was above the room and I could see everybody and I was watching what was happening and I was like, wow, and then bam, like in a split second, I was somewhere else and I was in like a huge building with a portico, big porch outside this big, huge building and not wood, it was part of the building. And I'm looking out over the edge of the portico and I see this place that is almost indescribable. It had no blue skies. Everything was light, pure light. It went through everything. And I'm standing there staring at it and I realize that there's grass and there's trees and there's flora, fauna, there's animals, birds, you name it. And I'm staring at myself and I started to feel my hands, and I was like, wow, I was
Wow.
in pain and I was standing there and then off to my right in front, I could hear people talking. And I thought, oh my God, this is weird. And then
Did
somebody
you know
walked
you
up.
had died then, or did you
I
at this
knew I
point?
was dying. I knew
Okay.
I died. I knew I died. And somebody walked up behind me and he said, I love you. Put his hand on my shoulder and he said, but you're not staying. You have to go back.
Oh,
You have a life to
gosh.
live. And he gave me one message. He said, animals will be part of my life, my whole life, and that I have to take care of them. That is my karma. And
Do you know who the person was?
no, no.
Wow.
I know it was a male. It sounded like Talata to me. My fifth dimensional entity who runs the ship, and dwells
Oh,
it.
cool.
And
Yeah, okay.
I've directly asked him, and he won't answer me. He said, "You'll find out someday. You'll understand who that was." And it could be him. Maybe it was somebody else. But he absolutely told me point blank. I felt related to him, or at least part of him in
Mhm.
some way. And I realized that he was telling me the truth and that I was about to go back. And I was like, no, 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 no. Because I was sick for a long time before this happened to me. And unfortunately, it did. And I went back and I slammed into my body at Mach 12, hit the bed hard. And I woke up coughing and spewing blood and really gross. And they were trying to clean me
That's a
up. And the
part of it. Yeah.
ambulance was
So
there.
how long were you dead for? Like how
Um,
long?
my doctor's name was Ettinger, and I had him until I was 18 as my physician. And when I got older, I finally asked him, and he said, "You were good and gone for about 5 minutes, maybe 6,
Wow. Oh,
and I should
wow.
be brain damaged because of that." But he said, "You're not." So it was pretty cool.
Wow.
It was really
Yeah.
cool. I mean, it was my. I always knew that I was. I always knew. How do I put this? I woke up awake. I knew that I was born before. I remember my last life. I remember a few of them at that point, really early in my life. It used to drive my mother crazy because I didn't want anybody touching me in my back. One of my lives, I was killed by being stabbed in the back as an old woman, and it bothered me for a long time. Don't touch my back. And I would sing songs in other languages and stuff like that. And I had whole emotional paradigms going on other than who I was. But it was
Yeah.
me. I was just acting them all out when I was young. And my mother was like, cut it out.
Oh, my
You know?
mom used to get freaked
Yeah.
out too. So I started
Yeah.
writing as another person. I'd be like, this person, it's like, because they couldn't even handle like the spirit part of it. It used to freak them out.
Yeah.
And then go into the religion. What do they automatically think? An exorcist? I mean, you come on now, that's the thinking of back then, so
Yeah.
it's like,
I was lucky. My
ooh,
parents were evolved, religiously evolved. And I was taught all religions. I was given an opportunity to make on my own, what I thought about them.
awesome. Yes.
And everybody was psychic in our household. My mom was acutely psychic as well. She just didn't like it. But she was very psychic with my dad. I mean, they drove us nuts with that. And so I was allowed to be who I was right up until the point that she saw me veering from the life that she thought I was going to live. When she realized that I was going in another direction, and she started to freak out at that point. She didn't want to happen, so she became vocal. And
It's
yeah,
Wow.
hard for some parents, I think, too, when they realize their child is
Mhm.
a contactee.
Oh
They
yeah,
themselves often don't
definitely.
understand it, and they're having these experiences. And let's face it, the contact experience is very challenging, challenges you spiritually, emotionally, mentally, psychically. It's a great opportunity for growth, really.
And to
Just
come
not
out and
everyone's
just
ready for
talk
it.
about it.
yeah,
I just remember the first time I was like, how do I say this? It's like,
I know. It's like, oh God.
it's gonna get really weird, and I don't know, So it's like, but it became so much easier because it's what you experience. It's like telling somebody about your day or what
Right.
happened, even if it's not
Exactly.
like, yeah, but it's that much a part of your life. So definitely.
Yes.
Good point. No, I
No,
hear you sound great.
Sounds good to
you're
me.
fine.
Okay, cool. So I do have a question for you, Preston, on this specific topic before we move on to other people's questions here. One of the most frustrating things I've come across in my entire time here is the idea is this allegation that there's a secret space program and that there are people that are as children taken and put in this secret space program, and then their memories are wiped. But then as they get older, they discover, like more and more from documents they find out and correlating events and people they meet that they were part of this alleged secret space program or something to that effect.
Government.
It, I'm curious, Preston, about your thoughts on that because you talk about having all these conversations with people. Have you ever had a conversation with anyone who's mentioned that?
Oh, certainly. Yeah. And I've looked into it and I'm not happy about it. Uh, I, you know, I don't want to make anyone angry. This is my assessment as to what's going on. Take it or leave it. But I do not find these stories credible. And I think what's happening to these people who are coming forward with what are real experiences to them. I believe that they are, um, to use that word victims, but, victims of my labs, military abductions, mind control, disinformation.
Project Montauk. Yeah.
Um, so they can come away from an experience, with all of these memories and like trying to figure out what's going on and like, coming to this interpretation because it was fed to them. So I'm certainly not blaming them in any way, but my heart goes out to them because if you look into the basic science of it, you can't go to Mars and live there for 20 years. It's not going to happen. You cannot survive there. There's no magnetic field. I cringe because this is a relatively new development. This was not around in the 80s and 90s and even the 2000s. This is new. So I am a little bit concerned about it because I think the nefarious elements on this planet are on this planet. It's not the ETs. They're not fighting wars with each other or anybody. It's us doing it. It's our
Yeah,
elements within our own secret government who are conducting horrific, heinous mind control experiments on people. And this is, I think, part of it. This is my assessment.
And they talk about that though too, and the Freemasons, how involved they are, and the traumatic parts are happening in these labs that are right here on planet Earth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this
They're
is
trying to give ETs a bad name, and it's just very carefully, very nefariously orchestrated. It's a huge concern, I think, because it's causing all kinds of problems. I mean, the muddy waters in this field are unbelievable. So, yeah, that's my assessment based on what I've been able to learn. I've talked to people who feel that they've gone through this, and my heart goes out to them. But I
yeah.
honestly think that's what's going on here.
And to be
I
clear,
want to interject something real quick.
I have to
She
just
said
kind
it.
of I got to give a caveat real quick. I am not taking a position on this. Just to be for anyone who's listening, I haven't done enough research to say either way. So before anyone says this is my perspective, I didn't say that. Either way, it's just something that I was frustrating because when investigating that, I don't have enough information that I could really stand on anything. So I
Yeah.
don't know. That's what my perspective.
I'm going to work out some of the science, and then I have something to say about Freemasons. Um, the science is that Mars is a dead planet, dead core planet. It has no magnetosphere because its core is dead. It has been pounded. It is exhaling. Literally, it's getting smaller every year that we exist. It's outgassing. Okay. You couldn't live 5 minutes there. You would be dead. You would be pelted by gamma radiation so intense that your cells couldn't take it. You would die within 5 minutes. You would die on the trip there. Astronauts cannot live in space for more than 11 and a half months. 12 months is long enough to see their DNA start derazzing and they start to die. These are proven scientific facts in the scientific record. Look them up. Everybody look them up. You cannot exist on Mars. They try to tell you now, the media and Wikipedia and all that are now starting to spread lies about it, and it's not true. Go to the library, get an old textbook about planetary sciences, and look it up. Gamma radiation is deadly to humankind. It is so deadly, our magnetosphere, because our poles are changing, is 40% down. If you want to know why all of a sudden in the last 80 years there's tons of cancer, tons of mental illness, tons of autoimmune disorders, tons of everything going wrong with us, including our hearts and everything else, it's because gamma radiation is coming in on us and eating our DNA alive. And it's causing us to fall apart and become sick. Those are the facts. There is no space program where they go 20 and 20 and any of that. These are the imaginings of delusional BSers who want you to be afraid of what's going on in their world so that they can control how you think and move you like cattle in the direction they want you to go. Okay. Freemasons. Freemasons have existed all the way back to the Knights Templar, who were the beginning of Freemasons. Jacques de Molay was burned at the stake by the church, by the way, because he had knowledge, ancient knowledge, that he and all the other Masons and Knights Templar wanted to keep humanity up and running properly with truth, science principles, math principles, all of it. They are the keepers of knowledge on this planet and have been for a very long time. They go back to the Egyptians and before, the time of Christ and before. Jesus Christ was probably a Mason, a Freemason, in the way that you understand what that word means now. The governments have been using to put them down so that you don't employ what they teach, and that is truth, knowledge, teaching yourself the truth. They teach all these things, and they don't want you to know them. And so they're attacking them. They're attacking anybody who would try to thwart them. And trust me, I'm on the receiving end of that. I get threats too. And it's not okay. And so if you meet a Freemason, a real honest to God Freemason, talk to him about what he knows and what they stand for. Okay? And don't berate them. Don't come after them. And don't treat them like dog do, because they are good people on this planet who are just trying to help you survive too.
Yeah, Louis Borges is a Freemason. He talked about that a couple times on several different live shows. So the next question that I have is from Peanut. Peanut asks, a lot of people say they want to go home, but we don't know what or where home is. What is home? A return to God, maybe? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks. That's Brad Peanut's question. I'm thinking that she's referring to like these disembodied beings, like after they die, what happens to people? I'm assuming this is a question that was asked a while ago, so I'm assuming that's the question. Like when we die, and there are these demon creatures or other beings, other things. Do they want to go home? Is there a home? I think that's what she's asking.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let Preston answer this. He should.
Oh, I so want to. It's an important question because death is such a great mystery, and it really doesn't have to be, because we do have the capacity to find out firsthand. I love all the books on near-death experiences by Raymond Moody and all the other authors out there. They really helped me a lot to understand, but I wanted to have my own experiences with this, and you can through astral projection, out-of-body experiences. Home, where we go to, most people, the vast majority of them are going to go to what we would think of as the fourth dimension. It is the astral planes, the higher astral planes. It's a very beautiful garden pastoral realm. You can have your own house there. You'll meet all your loved ones, your pets, all of it. It's beautiful, very earth-like in a pastoral way. But it does depend on the individual. Some individuals who are having a lot of issues that are still trying to work out, whether it's, greed or lust or anger or addiction or attachment in some way, might have a little bit more of a longer journey to getting up to that particular level. But the vast majority of people who have, even if you're skeptical of life after death, you're probably going to end up in what I call the garden realms, the heavenly realms. I'm not a religious guy, but you can actually bask in the light that is so often mentioned in near-death experiences. That's part of this. That's home. We are, astral projection is a bit of a misnomer because we think, we're leaving our body and we're going to another dimension. No, not really. You're going home to the place that you came from. The fact is we're projecting down here into a physical body for a temporary period of time as a choice we made to learn things that you can't learn on the other side. You can't learn, things like pain and, individuality and loss. And not in the way you can down here. So we come down here to learn certain things. And it's a very brief in comparison to how long we stay up there. That is our home. And there's levels and levels and levels to it. There's all kinds of literature on this. I would really, really encourage people to check out astral projection. I've got a little guide I'll send to people if they want to learn how to do it. I've got it down to 2 or 3 pages, and if you follow these steps, I'm pretty sure it'll work. I've taught people how to do this. Just email me, prestonufo@gmail.com. Easy to remember, my name, the word UFO, and I'll send it to you. That's how important this is, because then you will know. You will know for sure. And you can meet all your deceased loved ones, spirit guides. You can go to healing temples, temples of learning, enlightened masters, all of it. And you will know what home is. There is life after death. There's no question of it.
Do you teach classes on this, Preston?
He has a YouTube channel where he's like got 4
No, but
million
like
hours
actual.
of...
No, I've heard, but I'm saying I've tried
kidding, I'm
and
kidding.
like I
Give me one
told
sec,
them
guys, I'll be right
before.
Yeah,
I can only get like a quarter of the way out. So I'm just wondering.
People keep asking me, and the only reason I haven't is because, logistics and time and things like this. But I'm very open.
I would sign up. Yes.
To, if you contact me and I'll work with you.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And we can go back and forth and have conversations and we'll get it done. Because
I'm ready to go, and I'm just like I always get stuck.
It's a matter of meditation and persistence is really what it's all about.
Right.
I've
You
really
don't learn
tried
to walk in
everything.
a day. It takes time to learn how to do this, and you're working against 2 things. One, you have a pineal gland in your head that might be gummed up and you need to detox it, First order of business is everybody needs to give up fluoride. It's calcifying your pineal gland. It's important that you stop doing that.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Your psychic ability is in your head. Okay. And the second one is that we're so used to changing channels all the time, and we've been taught to be so bombarded with so many things at once that it's really hard for us to learn how to focus and shut up and learn how to do this. So it takes time. You have to be willing to work at it. You can't just try it. You have to work at it until it happens.
I will put my full, because I tried everything, down to the Epsom salt, the songs. Like I tried for months. So any guidance, if you can get me there, like I'm even the one point, like I was almost out, and then like I had my arm, and like this skeleton looking lady came down. I didn't even care. I think that it was like something trying to scare me, but I was like, nah, I don't care. That's an arm that's going to get me out of here. I don't care what it is. I'm grabbing onto anything,
You're a medium, right?
Yes.
You have mediumistic abilities. You should already be out of your body. You probably
I think so
every
too.
single night. Everybody does. Okay.
I do, but I can't do it. I can't. Okay, so I do travel, and but I have no control over it. It's not, and I want to do it where I have more consciousness, and
right.
I'm not just like, but yeah, I think I can do it.
Well, tell Preston to send you the information, and you read that, and then you call him, and he'll work with you.
Okay.
I would
Okay.
start, just by what you're telling me, I would start by trying to remember everything that's going on at night. Keep a dream book, get to the point where you can remember 4 or 5 dreams per night. Wake up in the middle of the night, take a 20-minute
Like
little
set an
walk around the
alarm or
house.
something, or does that
Yeah.
work? Okay.
Yeah, in the middle of the night, and it's a pain in the butt, but it works really well. Wake up at like 3 a.m., go to the bathroom, walk around, do just 15 minutes, lay back down, and let go. Just let go. And it'll happen just like that. This is a
So is it
really
true
good
that
trick.
your body starts vibrating, or is that like?
Yeah, that's the vibratory state, but don't worry too
Okay.
much about that.
Oh, I don't care about it. I just want to get there.
One of them to the point where you start to feel heaviness or lightness, or you can't quite tell what position is my arm in? I'm not sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
Like your
I've
movement.
gotten there. I just can't break out. Like I got part way out. I was
Then
impressed.
when you're at that
but-
point, turn 180 degrees your attention away from the body. Don't think
Weird.
about the
It's a
body
weird
at all.
feeling. It's a weird feeling.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
It
too.
feels
Look
really
I
weird.
want to
inwards
go
to your
traveling.
thoughts.
Like I really do. I'm gonna come find you guys.
Okay.
How will I know where to find you? Because when I get out,
Do
Preston,
it.
by all means, you better be.
All you have to do is
figure
remember
it
what
out.
I look like and I sound like, and you'll find me. No problem.
Oh, really? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, all right.
Dolly and I
So-
have had some really awesome shared OBEs.
I know. That's why I was like,
It's
that's
so much
amazing.
fun. It's so crazy.
Yeah, but I'm
there's a-
coming to you. So if I get out, just know that's me coming
Okay.
knocking.
Okay.
All right.
I'm serious. I'm when I'll putting, and after it, like, then we're gonna come back on the show and then we can talk about it. Because if you're confident you can get me there, I'm ready to go. Like,
Okay.
I'm ready to do this.
Yeah, we can do it. Absolutely.
All right.
There's
Cool.
no special. The only real obstacles that people have is fear, laziness, skepticism. They don't think they can do it, and laziness. They're not putting forth the effort. If you meditate an hour per night, and that's a lot to ask,
I do,
it will
yeah.
happen much quicker.
I fall asleep. That's a problem when I start meditating. It's like
Tell yourself, intend to
Sit
be
up.
lucid.
Sit
Stay
up
lucid.
slightly.
lucid.
Yeah.
Sleep with your. This sounds funny. Sleep with your head at the foot of the bed.
Yeah. Change positions.
Where have we just heard
Okay.
this? Didn't we just hear this? Or am I having a weird
All the
case
old
of deja
masters
vu?
sat up to meditate. Think about why they did that. So they didn't fall asleep.
Yeah, because you're not as comfortable. Yeah, yeah. You're
Let
more
us-
aware because it's not
More
something that
lucid.
your body is like your
I'm going.
cellular memory. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, I'll try.
Even little mantras you can do like fa ra or om or any the om mantra is a classic.
I've
This
heard
helps
that.
to get you into that state of vibration.
What's
but-
well, like, what part do you know? I know, like Fred Zhao, he always told me the shaman's renaissance, like to play. So I was playing that. So what kind of frequency do you want to be at to travel,
Okay.
or is that?
Here it is. Your brain, you think in alpha, beta, theta, gamma, delta. Alpha wave is where you want to be. Okay? And alpha, they call it the blank chalkboard. No thought of your own going on. You have to totally shut your mind down completely. You set the intentions before you so that your
Yeah.
brain, your higher brain knows what's going on, your consciousness.
I
Okay.
know all about that. Yep.
You shut up and you let it happen and you just go into alpha. So
So
It's
I'm
hard to
worried.
do.
You know what? I think I'm worried that I'm not going to get out. I'm worried how I'm going to get out.
see, that's you're not shutting up.
You'll get
Okay.
out.
Don't think.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can-
You
let
have
it
to
go.
physically
Let
relax.
it go.
then you have to
That's gonna be
mentally
hard.
relax.
No, don't say that. You're setting yourself up to fail.
Okay, I'm not. That's going to be
You've
easy,
watched-
and I'm not going to be lazy,
You've
and I'm
watched
going to do it.
Sinister. That's the problem. You watch Sinister, right? That's the problem. The movie
No,
Sinister.
I'm thinking I want to get out. Like, let's go. Time to go. I've
Yes.
been preparing
Yeah.
for this. Like, let's get this
I'm
show
gonna
on
do
the
it.
road.
Well, here's another way to do it. We all have deceased loved ones on the other side.
Mhm.
And if you don't, have one immediate, you have spirit guides. You can
Right.
appeal to them. If you have a deceased loved one, whether it's a grandparent or a pet or whatever, focus on them. Remember exactly what they sound like, what they look like.
Right.
Oh,
Reach
so
out to
those
them.
are two important things: is what sound like and what they
Yeah.
look like. Okay, so
Yeah.
that projects you there. So let me ask you this: if we were to try, like, on a certain day or certain time or certain whatever night, could you guys find me and help me out? You know what I'm saying? Like, can you do
Polar.
that?
Polar.
I've never done that.
Yeah, come on, like, do this here. Let's
I've
I
never
mean,
grabbed someone and pulled them
I
out of their body.
force you to
I've
be
never done
lucid,
that.
but I
No,
can't
but maybe you could like instruct
Yeah.
me. You'd be there, you know. It's
I
just like,
can try. I want to tell you something. You have to remember something, that you're already out of body every night, and you have dreams about it. Okay, you have very lucid dreams. The dream diary is for you to write down what you're thinking and feeling then, and you need to teach yourself a cue to become lucid in the middle of that and wake up, because you're waking up out of body.
yeah.
Okay, and the first thing you need to, Preston taught this, is all illusion go away, all illusion disappear. And in the middle of that dream, it will happen, and you'll realize I'm lucidly awake during an out of body. Get used to doing it that way at first until you can command yourself to go there. That's
Yeah,
a
I
good
used
way
to say
train
everything is a lie. Everything is a lie that I've seen. I tried that.
yourself. Well, I wouldn't
What
say
was
that,
Fred-
but I'd say all illusion go away. That's a really good
All
way.
illusion end
Yeah, all
all
illusion.
is the
Yeah.
best way to put it. It's very simple. But throughout the day, what you want to do is ask yourself, could I possibly be out of body right now? Could this be a dream? And this is kind of a ridiculous exercise because we all know when we're awake. I mean, we just know. But if you can just ask this question right now and look around, look, are there any anomalies? Because pretty much every dream will have some sort of anomaly.
Yeah, you're right.
And a really good, I call this critical thinking reality testing, and it works. What you want to
Yes.
do is take your finger and try to push it through the wall. And will it go through? No, obviously it's not, right? Because now you're going to be doing this. You might be at work. You might be walking through the grocery store. I'm like, I'm going to do this stupid exercise. You're going to push your finger right through the wall.
And realize that you're
Oh my God.
Oh boy! Oh, I see what you're
so
saying.
funny
Where
when
you're
it happens at
going with
work.
this?
It's creepy. It's not
Oh,
funny.
You're
It's
at work.
creepy.
I'm gonna be doing this
Oh.
all over. Yes. Okay, I gotcha. I'm writing this down. That's a
So
good
yeah,
one.
this is, and if you can do
So when
this,
you're
now-
OBE, you're saying you're gonna go right through.
yeah, or try to fly. You know,
Right.
when
I
do
might
this
get
3,
hurt
4,
doing
5
that.
times a
Though.
day.
It's really,
Just
yeah.
jump up.
Yeah.
And people are going to look at you like, this lady is crazy. Who cares? Because if you can go out of body, it's worth it.
Right. Okay, I'll do it.
And
I'll
this
do it.
this works. It absolutely works. And if you can do it regularly, like
Like
3
how
to 5
often?
times a day.
3 to 5. Okay.
Anytime you want to go, I can
Yeah.
flip it out anytime. Then once you get good at it, what you need to do is verify that you're doing it for real. You need to go someplace that you know, stand there and stare at it, make sure that you understand what you're looking at, all the whatever's going on around you, everything. And then when you come back, you walk out there to it or right out there, wherever you want it to be, and verify that you saw it. And you will see differences that weren't there. You know what I'm saying? Like Preston went out once, tell him this is how he was verifying it to himself.
It's very dreamlike. You start to question your sanity. Like, even though you know, once you have one, you know it. There's no doubt. It's not like, gosh, maybe I had. No, you will know. But even then, you're like looking around, like, gosh, could this be a dream? Finally, I'm flying around, and I flew to a place where I've never been before, relatively close to my house, but I've never seen it. Thought, well, this should be an interesting experiment, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and I'm going to drive here and I'm going to check this out, which was part of the LA River, right?
Very cool.
And it had all this soil on it, and I'm like, there's no soil. This is a cement river. There's no way this can't be real. Because I was going through this doubt again. And so I flew back to my body and I laid down in it and I fit back in and I woke up. I quickly wrote it down. Easy to forget. This is another thing. When you wake up, don't move. Lay there and try to remember. Don't turn over. Don't do anything. Just lay there and ask yourself 3 questions. Who was I with? Where was I? What was I doing? And don't get up until you recover something. Because your out-of-body experience will come right back that way. I'm like, gosh, I did.
So do you
have
get
one.
like full recall of it, or is this like an easy
yeah.
memory?
Yeah,
Oh, you get
well,
like full.
You can get full recall, sometimes not, because if it's a really long one, it's hard to. But I did this, and I woke up, and I went, got my coffee. I need my coffee in the morning, and then I drove. It was just a short distance away, and I had to kind of hop over a fence and look down into the river. I'm like, yep, there it is. There, I saw the darn bleached 7-Up can. I'm like, there it is, because that's what I was focusing on. I'm like, I need to make sure that this is real.
Yeah.
But you
Wow.
Google friend, because I was going to like my brother's house, and I'm like, well, he's like, you know this house by heart. you're just saying stuff you already know is there. And he was kind of right because
Could they
I already
sense you
knew.
were there when
I
you're
was,
having like in places? Like, can they sense that you're there or around?
I've tried so many times. The only one I've ever been successful was Dolly. She turned around and she saw
Oh.
me. But I've been in front of my
Yeah.
brothers and
Yeah,
sisters.
but
I'm like,
I'm
hey,
wide
hey,
open
hey,
psychic. Yeah, I'm wide open psychic, unconscious. I'm
So
really
you're in the
conscious.
same state. You're saying so then you could recognize
I never
they're
leave that
not.
state. I'm in 100% contact with my
you're a
actual.
medium. You might
Okay.
be able to.
You
So if I
might be
were to
able
like,
to. That's why I brought that up because you
Yeah.
are you
if I
probably
went,
have been in
I
front of
could
it.
try and pop in
Yeah.
front of you and give it a try. And
See the okay, so I'll go. I know what. Okay, so as a medium, I'm gonna tell you this. I'll self-disclose a little bit. That part freaked me out a little bit, like because I go under hypnosis. I go under like just like that. And I remember when this lady was training me, she's like, "Do you see Ramus?" And she was, and just like that, I saw a flash of light. My head went back. My eyes started fluttering. I was out for like 5 minutes. So that was a channeling, and I didn't like that. So I need to get more comfortable with letting certain things
No, I
closer
think you need to
or
get more comfortable with doing this yourself because you didn't like it because you didn't like somebody having command over you like that. Um,
yeah.
don't do it again. I'm telling you, leave it alone. You're psychic enough. You can do this on your own. You don't need to be, regressed or anything. Don't let
No,
somebody
no.
else command you to a thought into your
It's my
head.
weak spot though, because I've seen, and the only reason I know is I went to, and they told me that also. I've heard this several times, but
You get a
before,
recorder, get a video, turn it on yourself, and you do it to yourself. Your intention is
okay,
you're coming into yourself. You don't need somebody else to take you through it. You already
no,
know
that's
what's
just how I
safe.
discovered it though, and I was under like, and I couldn't even believe it. I was like, wow, did I
Did you
really do
verify it?
that?
Did you verify it? See, this is the part what I don't like about hypnotism. You can be told something that's not real, and you
No, but
actually
this was a
follow
show.
it.
Like, and I was like younger, it was
But no
before I
matter
knew
where you
all I
are,
did
what you're
now.
doing, if somebody's telling you something, it can
Yeah.
pull.
No, no, I believed it. I was up there with a microphone and I thought I had won all this money and I was not going to let anybody. I turned around and I cursed everybody out. And then I stopped and I thought, what? Something's not right here.
Right.
You know
The
what I
hypnotist
mean?
did it to
Like,
you. Don't let anybody do that to you. That's
yeah,
why
it was creepy.
my labs work so well because of that, because they can hypnotize you under drugs and make you believe anything they want you to. Because
Oh, for sure.
your physical mind will make up stories and do all kinds of stuff. It's your consciousness, your reality, who you really are, that will override it if it can. And the only way
Mhm.
you're going to do that is to wake up and start using your ability yourself.
my
Okay.
parents went to a hypnotist show once, and my
Mhm.
dad was picked out of the audience, and they hypnotized him and gave him a suggestion to jump up and say, Paul Revere is coming. Now, my dad denies this to this day, but my mom says, no, this happened. And suddenly he jumped up and said, Paul Revere is coming.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
And
I believe it. I,
it was not,
the
it's
things
not
they're
okay.
doing, yeah. It's
Yeah.
like,
Because they'll have people flapping like a chicken and doing all kinds of ridiculous
mhm.
things. And,
Yo,
And
the
I
human
realized
mind.
when he said like he was going through and he's like, okay, if I touch your shoulder, you're off. But I remember when he said, you open your eyes, I couldn't open my eyes. And I was like, whoa, what's going on here? And then I just like that, I was under. And then so I was warned later that to be careful. That's why I will never, ever go through regression. I have my own memories and I do not want anybody
So
tampering
does
with it.
everybody else. That's right.
Yep.
Brushing can be
Exactly.
done, ethically and morally with the right person. It can be effective, but I don't recommend it for people.
Yeah.
I would
Me neither.
say hypnosis is, the last
Power of
resort.
suggestion.
So
You're
Right.
under at a suggestive
write
level.
everything down, then meditate. Do it yourself because you can.
Right.
Even Leo Sprinkle,
Then how do you seek the validation? Because I always think that I can do it, but then I'm like, or do I need validation? I guess.
You know how I did it? I was really, really young. I started this when I was a very small
wait, hold on
child.
one
Okay.
second, guys. We got to go to break in 1 minute. I don't want to. I'm so
Okay.
sorry. Please forgive me.
Oh, sorry.
Um,
No, I'm.
so before
I got all
hold that
excited. I get
thought,
all excited about
please.
the
Hold that
yeah.
thought. We're gonna go on a short break. Yes, Scott, we got a theme song for everybody, so hang tight. It's just gonna be like 2-3 minutes as long as the song is, and then we'll be right back. Okay, everybody. So, Dolly, please hold that thought. All right, hold that thought.
Okay.
All right, guys.
watching from the shadows, an intelligence beyond our own. Whistleblowers shouting warnings, researchers feeling all alone. We're blinded by our arrogance, thinking we're the only ones in control. But they've been among us, preparing for their role. This revelation is shock to our core. Are we ready for what's in store? Something is coming, we can feel it in the air. Our force so powerful, beyond compare. They've been trying to warn us, but we just don't care. We're not prepared, it's too much to bear. They're not like us, there's something more. Non-human intelligence knocking on our door. Whistleblowers risk it all. Researchers sounding the alarm once more, but we're too focused on ourselves. Blind to the signs of what's to come. Will we wake up in time, or will we be left numb? We've been warned, but will we listen? Something is coming, we can feel it in the air. Our force so powerful, beyond compare. They've been trying to warn us, but we just don't care. We're not prepared, it's too much to bear. They're not like us, there's something more. A non-human intelligence knocking on our door. Whistleblowers risk it all. Researchers sounding the alarm once more, but we're too focused on ourselves. Blind to the signs of what's to come. Will we wake up in time, or will we be left numb? We've been warned, but will we listen? Something is coming, we can feel it in the air. Our force so powerful, beyond compare. They've been trying to warn us, but we just don't care. We're not prepared, it's too much to bear. Something is coming, we can feel it in the air. Our force so powerful, beyond compare. They've been trying to warn us, but we just don't care. We're not prepared, it's too much to bear.
Welcome back, everybody. We are back to live. So let me get back on camera here, y'all. So thank you for the patience, everyone. And we are live. All right, Dolly, Preston, Coley. Let's get this party started. So you were starting to say, Dolly, about an experience. So please continue. Sorry, but I apologize for cutting you off again. So can you guys hear me? I don't know if you guys can hear me or not. Coley, can you hear me? Preston?
I can hear you. All right,
Okay,
I had to unmute myself. Okay.
So, tech.
When I was young, I started flying a lot at night, and I realized that I was either dreaming or it was really happening, and I had to decide which one it was, and I became obsessed with it, and I came to the realization that I was actually OBE, and I had a pattern of how I would leave, and but I really needed to prove it. I mean, I'm one of these people that I'll doubt you to the end of time unless I can prove it one way or another. And I doubted myself at that point. And I was about 5.5, 6 years old. And I started walking around the house at night, late, OBE. And my mother would be doing a crossword puzzle, or she would have an open book, or my dad would have a drawing on the drawing table in his office, Or, my brother would be playing with toys and stuff, and I would notice all of this stuff. I have an eidetic memory, so I was memorizing everything I saw in the house. And then in the morning when I got up and I was, getting ready to go do what I was going to do, I started going back and looking where I was looking before. If my mother had an open book, I would read that page and memorize it. And then I'd go out and I realized I'm actually doing this. One of the ways that I knew that I couldn't get out of my room at night was my parents were locking me in because I would sleepwalk sometimes. I would OBE, or ET was coming and getting me, and they would not put me right back in my room. Sometimes I'd be in the living room or outside in the front yard or whatever, So they locked me in at night.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I was found in the driveway. I always assumed it was sleepwalking. Now you're putting, okay.
No.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I would do that, and then I realized, oh my God, I really am seeing this. I'm seeing it. And I employed my brother, who's 3 years younger than me. I said, will you pick a toy and put it just outside my door when you go to bed? And he's like, why? And I said, I just need you to do that. And then tomorrow, but when you get up before me, put it back in your room and don't tell me which one it is. I'm going to tell you. And he said, okay. So he did that. And I was right about 5 times in a row, freaked him out. He's like, how are you doing that? And I'm like, yeah, I'm out of my body. I only slept about 2 hours a night when I got older. But when I was very, very young, I would try to sleep 5 or 6 hours, but I was OBE the whole time. And I started going places and doing things and seeing things happen around the world. And I realized that, oh my, this is really, really, really real. When I became a teenager, I had a friend who used to tell me, I dreamt about you last night. And I'd laugh because I went to see her and she would tell me what we talked about. And it's exactly what I talked to her about, OBE. And I realized that she could see me OBE and remembered it. That freaked me out. And then I realized that she was a contactee as well, and we became compatriots together through it all. This is real, but you can do little experiments to teach yourself that it's really happening, like Preston did. He went and he saw a place that he'd never been before, and he went back and he looked. It's prove it to yourself. You can do this. It happens. The more confident you become in your abilities, the better your abilities become. It's like walking. I took 5 steps today. I'm going to take 10 tomorrow, and you do. Same thing with psychic ability. So.
Out of body experience. OBE stands for out of body experience.
Right.
So thank you for that. And they are different. Out of body experiences are different than astral projection. They're 2 different things.
No, not at all.
Explain,
it's the same
please.
thing.
Give me the lowdown on this one, because it's always been told to me that they're separate.
As far as I know, they are just different terms for the same thing. There's remote viewing, which is a little bit different in that you're only putting out a piece of your consciousness. But astral projection is another term for the out-of-body experience, which is in effect transferring your consciousness to another part of your actual organism. It's a little bit of a misnomer because you're not really leaving anything. You're just transferring your consciousness into your greater self, your greater extra dimensional self. Because according to Eastern schools of thought, we have our physical body, then there's the etheric body, which is the aura, then it's the astral body, also called the desire body. And this is where we feel a lot of our emotions. And then it goes up to the mental body. And
okay, I'm going to argue it's the same thing. It's all the same thing.
Yeah,
and I know this because I employ it. It is the same.
Yeah.
Your mind, you have a physical mind and you're who you really are, your consciousness. And your physical mind has to be able to hear and feel and see everything your consciousness is doing when it leaves the body. That connection has to be solid state. That's what I mean by wake up, because you're waking up to who your consciousness really is, who you really are. Remote viewing is, I can do it in any time. I can do it right now if I want to while I'm talking to you, is where I take my consciousness and I'm not leaving my body, but I'm projecting it to a target where I want to look. ET does it all the time. We spy people before we come down for them. We know what you're doing before we get there, because we can remote view you before we get there. your consciousness has to communicate with your physical mind. You have two things going on. You have a physical body and you have consciousness. Uh, Before they understood that, or way back when, they gave it all these different names, but it's still the same thing. I'm capable of remote viewing you. In other words, projecting my psychic sight out, like verbally talking to you or singing. I'm singing out into the universe. Well, I can project my consciousness out there with my physical mind listening and watching what I'm doing. I don't have to leave my body to do that. But when I want to leave my body, I just go. I have to be able to tell my physical mind what's going on, though. And that's why I say your psychic ability has to be on and working. That's why, Corley, you're going to do just fine. You're already psychic, operating psychic. Okay. You're very talented. I'm telling you, I can hear you thinking. It's okay. You can do this. You can absolutely do it.
Oh
But it's
yeah.
okay.
No, now I'm just like, okay, so I have to tell you this. In my first experience with ET, right? I describe how I could see myself, right, down on a table, but through myself, I could see ET. Is this like, do you know what
You're
I mean?
operating at the same time. Yeah, it's both your consciousness, your who you really are, and the consciousness of your mind awake. Yep.
So
It's
was I having like, was I like having you know what I mean? Like an out of body experience and
Craft, you're extremely
communicating, or
telepathic.
yeah,
All your psychic abilities are waking up. So you're remote viewing. You're seeing everything through the ET's eyes. You're,
right.
yeah.
you're understanding
Yeah.
what
No,
they're
I see them
understanding.
through my eyes and I look through their eyes and it was like looking into eternity. That's
Yeah.
all I can describe it.
How
There's
they communicate.
no,
That's right. It's
yes.
part of the communication. Yeah.
And they showed me a lot of pictures. But like I said, that I asked why I was, because I saw myself, but then when I saw them, it was like through the person who was on the table. And I said, why am I restrained? And they said, because of contamination.
Yep.
And so that's all I knew. But then after that, I was able to, on different ships, able to freely walk around. But I thought, man, when you just said that, is that maybe how we're transported, or how, you know what I mean? Is it or is it our physical body?
It is your physical body. You're going.
Okay.
Yeah, and you just said something that's absolutely let me know that you're absolutely the real deal, because they're germaphobes. Oh my God. And if you were able to walk around, that's because you got decontaminated when you came on board. You just don't remember it.
Hmm.
Okay. But if you were restrained really small, young,
Hmm.
it's because they don't want you mucking the place up.
Well, that's what I didn't know if it was for them or us,
No,
or
no, it's for them. It's keep your germs off their ship.
yeah, no, I have an old vlog that I did after, and I distinctly said, I said they're very sterile people. They're very sterile. And but see, when I was able to walk around, still they were still, maybe this makes sense now why they were in like at a distance, but I came close to a child who looked like that. But you know what? I can't say that I've ever been, they don't come over and hug you or anything, but maybe that is a part of it. Like, I
You
don't.
know, I'm a hybrid, so I had the joy of being touched by them. Mama would let me sit in her lap and hug me and press forward. One of the things, I don't know if you ever saw this or not, but one of the ways they greet each other, the tall grays, is they
Mhm.
put their foreheads together and you can hear them breathe in. They're huffing you. They're smelling you. Okay. And they can tell a
Wow.
lot about you just by your smell. And it's their formal way of greeting one another. And so I was allowed to do that with Mama, and she would hug me. And Talata's non corporeal, so I never hugged Talata, I just mentally hugged him. And the little grays, the AI grays, you can touch them all day long. It doesn't matter. They'll just go decontaminate themselves. But yeah, we
Okay,
can't.
that makes more sense because these were the tall grays
Yeah,
that I was able to. Wow, this is like all click. It's just like things are starting to click. That wow, I'm glad you had this conversation. Yeah. Now I'm gonna have 1,000 questions for you guys. So just remember, you said it was okay.
This is probably this is a
I'm
really
always
cool moment.
excited.
Just so you guys know, like
Yeah.
you guys are like teaching. First of all, Coley, you're sharing something I didn't know. This experience you have. You have told me before you think you have these psychic abilities, which it kind of is obvious. I thought it was obvious too, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not somebody who understands these things. But hearing Dolly talk about it now, confirming, and Preston both, by the way, confirming they can see this in you. How do you feel about that? And by the way, this is all happening live. This is like spontaneous. This is a big moment. You don't get these moments every live. So this
Oh,
is cool.
it's always been my life. So I don't think anything You know what I mean? I understand that they are, it tells me a lot about them, that they are like, that they are, I always say, one of your own kind is the way I put it. So
Yeah,
that just like tells me a lot, in the intuition that I've had previously about them. So it tells me that they understand because they also have, you know, abilities like that. So that
Marquise, you're being very subtle about it, but you're just careful, and I like that. But you're right there. You're just very careful in what you're, trying to filter out and understand, which is awesome. But I see it in you too. You're very psychic.
yes,
Pull me.
yes, very intuitive. Yes. You
I'm
you
careful
wouldn't be able
because
to do what you do.
yeah, I'm a
No,
we
I'll
host
tell you
here,
why
so
he's
yeah,
careful. I'll
yeah.
tell you why he's careful. And we're working on this because he's been so used to being told that his point of view was not of
Yeah,
and
yeah.
what people wanted to hear. And now
right.
that we got this opportunity that we don't have to worry about, those people that put those,
Restraints on us.
restraints on. Yeah, we don't have those anymore.
We do
But
not have
Right.
those
Marquis
anymore.
still does, though, I think. And so I keep telling him, you don't have to worry about that. You can right now, you can come straight out, and you don't even have to apologize for it or
Right.
anything. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yep.
Things are much
It's
better.
hard to
Yeah,
break that habit
yeah.
though,
Yeah.
because he really I mean, like
It's
he
die
was brought
hard. They
down.
do.
So yeah.
This
Sorry.
is
Go ahead.
awesome. Yeah,
Okay.
we have therapy sessions, so everyone gets to get involved in our therapy sessions here. So I got to give people a chance, to ask. There's some more questions. There's hold on one second. Polly had another question I think is really interesting, and as a matter of fact, I would have never even thought of asking this question ever in a million years, maybe in a million. The question from Polly is, does alien abduction or encounters, do they change your timeline?
Oh,
Ooh.
I read
That is a
that.
really
Yeah.
good question, Polly.
Yep.
Okay. Well, there is no such thing as a timeline, okay, outside of this timeline. In other words, in the third dimension, we perceive things so slowly that we've invented time, okay? We perceive it that way, so we think minute to minute to minute to minute. And we know that there's a past and a future and behind us and in front of us. We don't understand that those don't actually exist. It's because we're gravity heavy right now and we physically have no choice but to see it that way. Outside the body, outside this dimension, either way you go with it, there is no timeline. You see all of it all at the same time, and you perceive it that way. It's part of being immortal and understanding who you are. You know everything about yourself in the past. You know everything that's going to happen to you in the future. You know everything. You just know everything. You have all knowledge, like the all mind. Okay, it's really hard to conceive of that. When you're in this timeline, you cannot change timelines. There's no such thing as that. It does not exist. It is what it is. But what they can do with you is bring you back at different points of your day. When I get taken out of here, okay, I'm always brought back within minutes of leaving, whether I'm gone 15 minutes, 2 days, a month, or
Oh
six
wow.
months. I've never been gone longer than that. I'm actually physically older than my chronological age here. I've lived much longer than
Mhm.
here. Okay. But I've always been brought back here. Science has actually proven how this is done. You conflate or retract time by what you're doing, and it's a dimensional jump to do it. They don't travel a normal time like we do. They don't travel in conventional space like we have. They go through gates of dimensional gates or light gates because they employ light to do it, and it's complicated. But yeah, you can be brought back. My timeline is always the same here. They're very careful to bring me back within minutes of leaving, so that my timeline is not altered in any way, shape, or form. I can be out of it for a couple of minutes and then come right back. They don't want to bring me back before or after. They want me to be right there. And a few minutes either way isn't going to hurt me, but it can if they're not careful. So, and they know this. They've employed it long enough to know how to do it. So, yeah, a lot of
Much
people.
greater understanding of time than I think we do. And you can get a sense of this when you do astral projection because you experience time differently there. But people who have an encounter, no, I don't think they're switching timelines or anything like that, but you start to gain a greater understanding of what time is. And yeah, you can start perceiving future events in a sense. It might not necessarily happen, but yeah, you can experience what we call precognition. And
I get
ETs
the
have the
death
ability.
dream. It's always 30 days before, and I never know exactly who it is. I just know how close they feel to me. So I'm like, I'd be like, so that is something in the future. It's never ever failed. I mean, like when there was
Yeah.
two on the same day within an hour, I knew. Or when somebody's pregnant,
Uh-huh.
I also know. So
Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense. I never
Yeah.
thought about it like that because you think, oh, psychics predictions like this, like is gonna happen. But in a sense, that is like,
Yeah.
looking
I
into the
actually have
future.
had intervention by loved ones on the other side. My father's been gone since 2014. And every time somebody in my family is going to pass away, he comes and tells me,
Oh
he'll
wow.
allude to it.
Yeah.
And my brother was a hard one for me because he brought me out OBE to him. And I walked into this room and there was this huge long table. And everybody in my family who had passed were on the other side, sitting in chairs at a table, like a banquet.
Hmm.
Everything was plates, everything. And I'm staring at him and I'm thinking, what am I doing? And my dad said, look down. And there's a place sitting in front of me and a name card. And I went, oh crap, is it
Wow.
me? And I looked at the name and it was my brother's name and I freaked out. And I was like, oh no, And sure enough, I found out 24 hours later that he had COVID really bad. And then I spoke to him 2 days later and they were about to put him on a ventilator. And I begged him, don't do it. And he did it anyway. And he didn't live.
Wow.
And it was my father. I mean, he was trying to prepare me because this was a big one for me. It was
Yeah.
my only
So
sibling.
do
And
you usually see the names then when your dad, so he comes
he
and
tells me in different ways. That was a big one, the way he did that.
yes,
When
yes.
my mom was
Wow.
dying, he just showed up and was standing in front of me, and he said, "It's going to happen, and be ready." And he met my mother. I know he did. I could hear it in his
Hmm.
head. I have a cousin that passed away, and he warned me by jerking me physically, emotionally around about him. Okay.
Hmm.
Um, every time I saw him, I could feel my father's patting me, telling me, "This is it. This is bad. This is going to happen," and it did. And
Yeah.
I've learned it a myriad. He has a whole bunch of different ways. It just depends on the person, but he always lets me know. And it's hard. It's really hard when they're telling you like that. ET only told me once when somebody was going to pass. They knew it as well, and they were just trying to help me make it through the idea that, oh no, here it comes. This is somebody that means a lot to me, and they were giving me a chance to process through it,
Yeah.
and stuff like
So
that.
have you dealt? I guess I have to ask. Like, there was a period of time, and it was intense. Like where there was, I feel like I'm the last man standing in many. And I will tell you, my son jokes around about this, but I
I
only
know.
have one living boyfriend, and that includes all my prom dates and anybody else that I have and it's all been from different things. Sometimes freak accidents, sometimes and I'm not even joking you. That is, oh, he'll be like, so mommy, so none of them made it, but just one, just the ones. I said, nope, not a one, and it wasn't necessarily at the time, but I mean, I just you think about stuff like that instinctively. Like, did you face anything, or do you think knowing that kind of,
Yeah, it's kind of
I
creepy.
just,
Yeah,
yeah, it
I
is
have
really
a lot of
creepy.
relatives, a lot. I have a huge family, and I am one of the last men standing. I have a daughter who's alive. My immediate family are all gone, everybody. I have a niece and some nephews. That's it. All my aunts and uncles are gone. Everybody
Yeah,
I love, gone,
yeah.
and it's like, oh no, this is
Why do you
crazy.
think that is? Because that's like seems
Because
like
I'm
when
not
you were saying
finished
that.
doing what I'm supposed to do,
That's what
literally.
I thought too.
Yeah,
And I asked, and my grandmother came through, and she said, because if I were here, you wouldn't be able to do what you are supposed to do. And
exactly.
that's
Same
like,
message.
yeah,
Yep. Yep.
wow.
Yeah.
Well, I had a best friend, my brother died of alcoholism, relatively young. And I think what happened is if you're not fulfilling your mission, well, you're just going to go because you're not having time here that's useful to your growth. So, death is just not what people think it is. We fear it so much. There's so much confusion and misunderstanding about it. The fact is, it's a very healing experience. We're all going to have this
Yeah.
permanent out of body experience until we're ready to come back. And we
But
might
I
not even,
guess, like my point is like when that death happens, everything changes. And
Yeah.
it's
Oh, yeah.
like, so it's like massive change, like you're being jerked this way, that way, so it's just like, is that getting you, zigzagging you to the place that you're supposed to be because you didn't,
I think to a
I
certain
don't,
extent, yeah. My mom died tragically, very young,
oh,
and it was, of
wow.
course, a horrible, horrible thing. But it ended up having this wonderful silver lining. It changed my life. She ended up, making me take a completely different pathway in life.
Mm-hmm.
And she basically took me on a tour of the heavenly realms, changed everything for me. Because of that, I'm able to help others have this experience. So everything has a silver lining to it. What we think
Oh,
is a
yeah.
horrible
Yeah.
tragedy, there's reasons for it.
No, you're right. My son's father, he passed away when he was 18 months old. So I totally, I understand, but the bond that he and I have is like, it's just, and that would not be possible. And the kid's just absolutely amazing. So, and I think like I love him just the way he is. So it's hard, but once you get the time and acceptance, and it's not permanent. And I always think that, life throws these things at you because we're here to learn lessons, and,
Right. Exactly.
like there's nothing you can do to control it.
Right.
So you just go with the
Say,
flow.
have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Woo-hoo. Yeah.
I was like saying Alan Watts said to be that passenger in that moving train and to watch it like it's a movie. At times you really do, because you can't take it too seriously. You won't make it out alive. And we
Exactly.
yeah,
Just be present every time, every day,
yes.
everywhere you are. We're all
There you
present,
go.
and this is good enough for right now. We're doing great here.
Yes.
We're accomplishing something. And
I agree.
that's every moment of your time is precious, and just be in it, present.
I was going through like a thing where I was started touching the counter and like trying to become aware of almost like everything that I was doing. And then in my head, I used like before when the abductions were happening, I'd be like, okay, you're going to remember, I repeat it throughout the day. You're going to remember sight, sound, if you smelt anything, what the temperature was like, anything. So I like, and I would do that, and I would like physically like touch something. So so I was trying to program myself to do it. It helped. It does help to become more conscious, but yeah.
I had a bunk on board, I had my own little room, and I used to lay down on my little bed and I put my feet on the wall because it's warm, and it felt weird under my feet. And I would just sit there, and every now and then I'd say, "Don't push so hard." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he said, "I feel that." And I go, "Okay, okay." And then I started tap dancing on the wall, with my back on the bed. And he said, "Are you trying to drive me crazy or what?" And I said, "I don't know. I'm just pushing limits here. Have some fun." And he's like, "Okay, fine, have fun." I would put my hand on it and tell him, "Leave my hand as a print of light." And I'd pull my hand away, and sure enough, there'd be a handprint on there, a full lit up impression of my hand. And I ran around the craft sometimes doing crazy stuff, just because I had to figure it all out.
Yeah.
It's amazing,
Oh, absolutely.
Time I do a show with Dolly, I'm like, this has to go in the next book.
Yeah,
Driving me
this is
crazy.
great. Yeah, this is great.
I did not know this.
Wow, this is good. This is like, yeah, this is
Revelations
great.
That's
on
fine.
live.
Yeah.
First time revelations on live. You know where to come for that good
Yeah.
stuff right here.
Yeah, right. No, I was like, wow, just you think like, yeah. Every time you guys amaze me, like it's just more and more, and I'm just like, I always have to ask about
So
that, about the
interesting because
experience.
I'll be reading all these accounts, and now I have a greater understanding because Dolly was able to fill in a lot of blanks. I was reading this account of a guy who came upon a UFO. He's driving along, he sees it, and he walks up. There's an open door. He walks into it. He says the inside felt like dolphin skin, and he started giving these details that just rang true to me. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a real, honest to God case. And yeah, when he said that, I'm like, ooh, there we go. I think
So
Dolly
how
used
did
that
you
exact.
process it all, Preston? I'm trying to think if I didn't go through, because 2 weeks before my brother, he saw a UFO and then like it's stuff. But even when he told me about it, he's like, yeah, you'll never believe what I saw with my son. And I'm like, what did you say? I saw a UFO. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I didn't really, but then when I saw one, I was like, whoa, so it's like, I'm trying to put myself in your position on hearing like all these extraordinary things. Like, how did you process it, or how did you start to look for patterns in the people, or how did you
Yeah,
determine, like authenticity and things like that?
I dive deep. I was very fortunate to know a lot of people that I loved and trusted, and I knew they weren't lying, and I knew they weren't mentally ill. And they're
Hmm.
telling me these stories. I'm like, okay, I'm getting close. I know these people have had real experiences. And then I'm picking up these books. I'm like, well, these books are saying pretty much the same thing. And I did start to see patterns immediately, and I could see where it was being misrepresented in terms of what the contact experience is. I'm like, these people are
Hmm.
not okay. This is very fear-based. This is not true, and this is. And
Oh
I
yeah.
started looking for patterns because it was evenly divided between men and women. There was, and I'm like, why are some people getting in contact and others aren't? Finally,
Right.
when I had started having my own sightings and started having actual communication and real honest to God contact, that was a new level. But I had to
And then
work my
probably
way up
like,
there.
oh wow, then it brings a whole new meaning to it.
Yeah, but I'll never forget that first year. I cried. I absolutely lost my mind because I was so sure I was right. The stars are too far away. There's no such thing. And I was so wrong. And not only was
Wow.
I wrong, our government was not my friend. And I thought they
No.
were.
Oh
I thought
God.
they were telling the
No.
truth, and they weren't.
Yeah, right. I know.
They
You
wanted to
say
cover
that
up.
now and you just want to crawl under a table. Like I one time we listened to them and we thought they were out for our best interest, and it's now like, oh my
Some
Lord.
are. I mean, there's good people within government.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm talking about
Others,
the larger system
the
that's
cabal or
pulling
whatever
the
you want to call it.
strings. Yeah, yes, yes.
But
Not,
yeah, that,
yeah. There's people in the like your local. I'm not saying that it's all. I'm just saying that government entity that
yeah,
controls
exactly.
and
And
pulls
it's
the
a
strings.
huge wake-up
Yeah,
call. It's these corporations that, are not okay.
I
They're
know.
they're doing bad things to people and they know it.
Right.
And
And
they've
you
been
know what I
sued
think is
for
the
it.
big problem is that nobody's saying those things, and that's what I like. I'm out to get like not in just in a different spectrum, but the things that people should I know. Like I think all that stuff needs to start to be like more and more talked about because it was like at first I was like, oh, every experience you've had kind of discredits you is what they were trying to paint it back then, and it's a whole thing like nobody wants to go and tell or be that UFO person that like what I mean like that nobody you got to think like I found like three people or two people on YouTube that could relate they found me, but those were the only other than my brother. And I remember just reaching out and reaching out and reaching out, and it just like it evolved into this. But the the feeling that you get like with the experiencer and like a fellow person, like they have this like empathy for you that nobody else is really going to understand, but yet there's this like element of excitement, like I'm sure when you see the craft, like it just like is the for
Awesome.
me it's like the best thing in the world.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, and I have no problem talking about it now, because I know that this is real.
Oh
And
yeah.
people who roll their eyes and kind of shake their head in pity, I'm like, that's all right. I actually feel a little bit sorry for you because you'll find out one day.
Yeah,
I've
I
been
know.
where you're at. I understand. I have sympathy for you, but I know that this is real. I
I
have
tell
no
them
problem
that they're the
telling you
liability. I see why we have the liability right
that.
here. You just want to know
I'm happy to be called UFO person because I think
Yeah.
it's the most awesome thing ever.
Oh,
I think
now,
it's
yes,
wonderful.
yeah. But day
You know,
one, what did you feel?
No, I didn't feel that way.
Yes.
I mean,
It,
I didn't have any problem talking about it even early on.
no, yeah,
But
me
it
either.
was an adjustment for
Hmm.
sure.
Especially like with your family. And if it weren't for my brother and him having similar experiences, I think that they would have just taken it as a total joke. But since I had my brother and my son's his gift isn't like really he does the whole he calls it like time dilation where you can kind of
yeah.
slow things down so his precision, which I think is kind of cool. And we're working at popping clouds. So like I mean projecting things like that of like he's so like interested in it, but the ET part of it he doesn't talk about much, and I always wonder, but he said that's his thing.
Yeah, my daughter is a contactee as well, and I've always known it, but not to the extent that I woke up one day and realized, oh my God. she came home. She said, I got a tattoo. And I said, really? What is it? And she showed it to me. It was her first tattoo, and it's a craft on her thigh.
Oh,
And
wow.
I was like, oh, look at that. And she said, yep. And she said, I'm calling it. And this is it. And I was like, oh my heaven, wow. And she doesn't really openly talk about it because she's friends with too many people, and they're not all on the same page with her. But she's put it on her body, so there's your sign. There it is. You know.
Yeah. No, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And you're right too. It's like I always wonder if there's not more to it because he just kind of avoids that part of the topic. But maybe someday I didn't think about that. Hey, and because he had a sighting about 4 weeks ago. I was so jealous, and he's like, my friends wouldn't look, and I said, yeah, Brody, sometimes that happens. But you yourself, I always try and teach him to that locking in with it or connecting with it, because he said it only stayed for a few seconds. I said because you were more worried about your friends seeing it than you experiencing it.
I don't know. You need to be careful right now, and you need to understand something. What you're seeing in the skies right now is not ET. It's back engineered stuff. ET bugged out 2 years ago, literally bugged out. They are not here. Our magnetosphere is so down that they were crashing all the time. They can't be here. Well, our poles are changing.
About 2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah.
Well, there was
That's
an
about
article
the time.
that was just posted by CNN about this concern for the magnetosphere changing, or the Earth's core changing.
Yeah,
So
40% down right now, and it's not the core. It's just the magnetic fields are crossing over each other now crazily because the poles are excursioning. They're going to different places.
There are
Like,
two
serious
things.
stuff.
There's multiple things happening at once. I gotta see here. While you give me 1 second,
We
while I
have
find it.
CMEs coming in that are more and more deadly because our magnetosphere is down. A regular normal CME is now causing havoc on this planet, and it's going to keep going like
But
that.
this would have been around the timeline where my sightings went kind of way down.
Exactly, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, then I'm gonna tell him different now.
Yeah,
Thank
be
you.
careful what you see and stay the hell away from it. Get out of here. Okay.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's I didn't know that. Thank you again.
You're
Jeez.
welcome.
That makes sense though, because I'm like,
Yeah.
well, where did it go? And I thought
Yeah,
maybe I just got
not
so
you.
focused in some other area, but
We have a giant electromagnetic current sheet coming through our solar system and through our galaxy, and everything in behind us in the galaxy and in front of us are being affected by this. And there are planets all over the place in our galaxy that are under, situations where things are not going well, and ET is running around like crazy trying to help everybody. And it's a huge galaxy that we're in, and they're part of it as well, and part of their homes are also affected, and they're bugging people out all over the place. We'd be gone by now if we hadn't been idiots, and they're they do.
yeah, no, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, and real quick, I found that it's the Earth's core. It's slowed down. That's on top of the magnetosphere changing. Earth's core is going backwards. It's moving backwards.
I don't
That's
Yeah.
not really, no. Our see, this is why I don't like disinformation. That's impossible. It can't happen. Okay, it is what it is. You can't stop that. It would jerk the whole planet at one time if that happened. We'd all be dead. Okay, that is not what's happening. Our magnetosphere, the electromagnetic resonant energy coming from the core, is being scrambled because our poles have moved. They've excursion. If y'all want to understand it completely, go to Suspicious Observers on YouTube and watch his playlist. He explains it. It teaches you.
Yeah, I've been watching this pole shift for at least like three years now.
Yeah, it's really
It's like I think last time I looked, it was going over Russia pretty quickly because it's gonna
That's
gain
really
speed.
past
as they're,
Siberia.
like-
It's heading up in water now. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
getting bad. So
So I have to get caught
Yeah.
up on it. But yeah, I was watching it pretty
Yeah.
closely.
yeah, one of the things that is happening to us is our time. What has occurred is it's not the core that's going wrong. It's the surface of the Earth. Our mantle is breaking free, and it's slowed down our day by like I think it's 2 microsecond or less than 2 microns, less than a second, 2 microns. So our day is actually longer than it should be. We've slowed down and we have a longer day now, and that's creepy.
So is that going to shorten the lifespan? Is that what you're saying?
No, what's
Or
going to
is it
shorten our lifespan is if we don't learn to deal with it and help ourselves through it.
Okay.
No, that's a big thing. So
Okay. Well, I didn't know if it would add more time. It's just like, there's
No, it's
places
not
in the world
changing
that are
the
on a
binary.
different calendar, 7 years
I'll
behind,
tell you what else is wrong that they're lying about is we are not going to evolve through this. We're not going to go into a new dimension and be, this is not healing us in any way. It's damaging us. One of the things that ET's been doing for the last 80 years with humanity is giving you medicine to keep your DNA safe through all of this. And now they're not here, so everybody's in the same boat, okay? And it's going to make crazy going on,
Oh, Lord, it's coming. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So
let's ask another question from the audience because there's quite a few.
Okay.
We're not going to get through all of them. We only got 20 minutes here.
Okay.
The question is,
Yeah, this flu. Just
what's up?
I love
I know
talking to you guys.
there's so much. Yeah, we could talk to you guys. I mean, this is not even a fraction of what we could talk about. But
I know.
at some point, I do want to get Preston on, and again, I want to get both of you on, but I want to get Preston to talk about some of these encounters.
yeah.
Because if you guys don't know, there's so many. I mean, your writing you're a prolific writer. You've talked mostly about encounters, which is really important because there's so many. So I wanted to talk about that, but we definitely do not have enough time for that tonight. So
You know what?
let's
I'm going
ask
to
the
book it
audience
next
questions.
time. Would you guys want to come on separate and then
Yeah,
give your own?
sure. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
He
I'll
does
write
have a
that.
lot. He did a thing. People are saying, "How come you only do the U.S.? Why don't you do around the world?" So his last video and the next one involves encounters all over the globe,
Wow.
and it's really cool. Y'all should check that out. It's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, Preston has some absolutely fabulous work, and he's so good at the postings and keeping everybody up to date and follow him. Like it's all the information is right there. I mean, there you are left with no questions, and if you have one, you just write under there. And Preston's, I've seen he's right on it too. Doesn't matter. Yep, he's very active in the community. He's reachable, which I love about Preston. I love that. We both are, but yeah.
Very much so. So the question that I had for the audience had for you was from Christine. Do you, Dolly and Preston, help counsel people regarding grief or other things?
Sometimes I do. It just depends on how you contact me and if I'm up to it. Yep, certainly. We all have issues that we're trying to heal ourselves for, and one of our main objectives in humanity is to help each other when we're in trouble. And sure, yeah, if you've got a problem, I will listen to you, and I will try to do what I can do to help you a little bit. It is my job as a human being. We're supposed to do that for each other. People who are in grief should have whole hordes of people around them that are willing to be there for that grief and openly and honestly talk it through and help them through it. But we don't live in a society that does that. It's not a part of our construct. And we all have to teach each other to do this. So, yes.
With honesty, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had people call me crying, trying to deal with their UFO experiences where they've reached a point where they just are overwhelmed by them. And that's always my first goal, is to help people. Also with astral projection, there was a guy who contacted me because he lost most of his sight because of diabetes, I think it was. And he was learning astral projection, and he had a lot of questions. And Dolly helped him as well.
That's amazing.
My heart goes out to him because he's having a hard time, and the astral projection is really helping him a lot because he can see colors and all this stuff that he had lost. He's a young man.
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely. I think Dolly's right.
So he's able to see then in that realm.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's so cool.
That's so powerful. Yes.
We all have these abilities that we're just really beginning to learn how to do. And I think we all have a duty to help each other, lift each other up to the extent that we can.
Give each other a hand in the astral realm.
We all think of ourselves as individuals, but we're so much more connected than we realize.
Exactly.
Boy, when I started having out-of-body experiences, I'd come back and I'd be hearing people's thoughts and feeling their feelings. And I mean, you just want to give everything to these people who are having a hard time because you are them. They are you. We're a completely telepathic species.
I agree.
The
I try
entire
to
universe
explain
is
it.
telepathic.
It's like you think of all the different appliances, but we're all plugged into the same energy source. Like, you want electricity, we're going into that energy source. And that's, that's kind of the way that I better started to understand that.
And what a gift it is to be alive, to have a chance to play this game is so cool. Just to be
You're
aware.
right. You're right. Not everybody gets this opportunity, and all four of us are sitting here and presented with like this extraordinary opportunity. And that's why I'm so glad that we're connecting and I'm able to learn, because I think that's most important. Like Dolly said, stop the spread of, and let's get down to it here, because we can actually make action steps and test some of this stuff out and figure out a way, but we're still stuck on defining or putting it in to these parameters. Like, if you guys have any experience, I'm all about it. I am all about it. I think that would be awesome, because I know that nobody has a step 2. Because I just remember after that, I'm like, all right, move on. Now what's step 2? And they're like, we don't have one. I'm like, what do you mean you don't have one? There's like, you don't have a book here now that you've been on the craft. What do you know? There is not. And we, the truth comes out of the experiences in one another. Like, I just would love to see some of this tested. And I think you guys have some great ideas on how to do some of this. So I would sign up, Preston, get that class going. We need you.
All right, I'll do it.
I love we need you. We really do. 'Cause this is a great
It's important
way.
because
Yes.
gosh, it changed my life so much. I am just skipping with joy about the out-of-body experiences because it wasn't that hard to do for me.
And there's confirmation.
Yeah,
Like that's great.
when I had my first one, I'm like, I'm doubling down. I'm going to get better at this. People have no idea if they just, once you have your first honest to God, full blown OBE, instantly there's life after death. Instantly you are immortal. Instantly you can fly. You can do all these things.
Wow.
It is so cool.
I'm excited. Yeah, no, it does sound life-changing.
Yeah. Every night when I go to bed, I'm like, this is going to be fun. I wonder what's going to happen. What am I going to do?
You're excited. Yeah, you're probably in your pajamas by 6 p.m. Like, how get going here? Oh, that's cool though. I love it.
Yeah, what is a day in your life like?
Oh my God.
That's a good question. Do
Well,
tell.
I get
Do
up
tell.
and I love my French roast coffee.
Okay.
A little Danish is always nice. A piece of pie or a donut or something.
Got a sweet tooth.
You have to do the laundry, clean the house, and the dishes, and all the stuff that we need to do, pay the bills. I work really hard with this subject. I'm very blessed because I worked full time doing as a bookkeeper for 35, almost 40 years. And finally was able to recently leave that behind and do this full time. So yeah, I'm just living the life right now that I always wanted to live, which is, working full time as a writer and researcher. So, I could not be happier in that aspect. But, you still have to live your life on Earth, and it's not easy.
No.
No, it's just not.
That part's
Literally
not.
sitting in the chair 10 hours a day.
And
Honestly.
don't you guys have a podcast in the morning? Because I was reading some guys like, I wake up in the morning and listen to Preston Dennett every morning with this
Oh,
cat.
that's our
He was like,
replays. Yeah. We're on Monday nights from 8 to 10 p.m.
so maybe he
on-
was in the UK or
on
something.
yeah, and then UK, yeah, they would be hearing us early in the morning. That's right. And all that. Yeah. Preston is like he's got a whole room of nothing but research documentation and all kinds of stuff that he's collected over the years. Hardcore, really good researching stuff, like a huge library of it. That wall behind him is nothing. There are other bookshelves in the house. There's thousands of books in the house, literally. And he gets up and he's constantly,
Well,
if you
those
see him
little,
in the background,
what I love is when little psychic things happen, when you're like, oh, I'm thinking about this, and then boom, it happened.
Yeah.
That is fun. That happens pretty much every day. Little tiny things. I see it with
I think
Dolly.
the timeline, it used to be like I'd think about somebody or something and it would take like a month to happen. Now it's like instantaneously. Like,
yeah. He also
everything's
taught the
sped up.
dog to be psychic. He's got this regular
Oh.
routine with the dog, and he can command her psychically, and she does what he tells her to do. It's amazing. And
More classes. More
so,
classes.
it's very
That's why I
cool.
think it'd be great because you guys have such powerful information, and I always love having you on together. But I'm gonna schedule you guys, and that way Preston can, because he has some impressive
Yeah,
stuff.
Yeah, I kind of feel like every time we get you guys on, somehow we always zero in on Dolly. I'm so sorry
I
about
think
that,
I
guys.
trying to chit
I don't know why
Yeah.
that happens, but literally every single time we zero in on, like, even the chat, we like, "Well, Dolly, what are they like? What do they want? Who are they? Where are they?" Like,
No, they
there's,
want to know.
we do this every time. I'm
But
so sorry.
Preston he's good at the confirmation because this is to the basis of his books. So it's maybe a good introductory and plus it, that validation right there and credibility. So I think next time, that you have, with Preston and Dolly, like
Well,
to
it
hear
would be
that
cool.
at times
It would
is
be cool to
great.
have like that, like you said, like to have a full on,
Yes.
session
Yes.
with each of you.
Yep.
That would be
Sure.
really, because there's so much we can talk about individually.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that would be really cool. That would be really cool. I do feel
Okay,
bad
I'll
like
schedule
having one
that.
of you sit while we talk to the other one though. I don't know how that
fun.
makes you feel. It's
I
just
love,
like
I love it. I'm learning from Dolly as much as all of us are.
Yes, wonderful. Well, and you, because like then you're able to put explanation to it, and you're able to say, "Hey, I started off a complete, skeptic in all of this, and look at where the steps and how your life completely changed." I mean, that right there is testimony in itself. So it's great to, and then that you guys are together and able to travel
yeah, the
together, and
chemistry. The chemistry
this
is
is
like
oh yeah,
unreal.
it's great.
Yeah.
To Lada, who actually recommended Dolly seek me out.
It
That's
is
how we met.
unreal. Yeah,
Really
Oh
your
do.
wow.
story.
And you
It's like,
vetted her for
no,
like 5 years or something, didn't you? You're very
Yeah, he
cautious.
vetted me for almost 6 years straight. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Yeah. We
no,
also have
his story
weird
was
birthdays.
extensive.
I'm a Taurus, so is he. He's
So
May
am
6th.
I.
You're kidding, really? Oh wow.
He's
That's
the
right.
6th. I'm the 7th. And
No
That's
way.
right. I remember that
Preston.
now.
No way.
We're in line. Yeah.
So I always
Wow.
remember Preston's birthday. And I corrected somebody on the page this one day, and I'm like, no, Preston's birthday is
No way.
on this.
Like, what's
Yeah.
going on here? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Why am I getting all these birthday wishes?
I know it's
Oh,
crazy.
funny. So when's yours, Dolly? When's your birthday?
May 8th.
May 8th,
Oh my
yeah.
God,
7, 8,
no
9.
way.
This is
No,
that's
7, 8.
6, 7, 8.
6, 7, 8. 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Wow.
Well,
Oh
at
my
least
gosh. I mean, really, can you get that? Okay. Wow.
somebody in
That's
the chat
awesome.
said synchronicities before
Very
you
much
guys
so, yeah.
mentioned that. Just so you know, before you mention these dates, just all seriousness, literally 60 seconds ago. Let me see. It was Polly. She said we just need to be more aware of synchronicities. Literally 60 seconds before you guys started talking about birthdays. Polly, maybe you are psychic.
Maybe so.
We
We are
are.
having a
I
moment
love
of synchronicity here.
synchronicities.
Yeah.
It makes you feel like you're on the right path. Like this is,
Yeah.
it's so cool.
I think we lost Coley. I think we
Oh,
lost her. Well, I hate to say it, but we are at the very end of the show. So before we lost Coley, I think she'll probably jump back on here in a second. But why don't you tell everybody where they can find you? I have all your connections are in your socials and everything are in the YouTube description, so that's there. But just for the sake of telling the audience while we're live, tell everyone where they can find you, and your content and your conversations.
Yeah, thanks. My books are on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, other online retailers. I have a website. Punch my name in; it'll take you there. Same with my YouTube channel. I'm on Instagram and Facebook as well, Twitter. Dolly and I do the Light Gate every Monday evening from 8 to 10. So you can reach us there. We do Q&A episodes and talk to all kinds of wonderful people like you, Marquise.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
you can definitely reach out to me. You know, if you want to learn OBEs, email me, prestonufo@gmail.com. I will send you the guide and you can ask me questions and I'll talk you through it. So yeah, Dolly has a YouTube channel too. It's not super active, but she does post on it occasionally.
right. I also have an Instagram. I got pictures of Talata up on it, and I have a YouTube, and I'm on Facebook and Messenger. And if you want to talk to me in Messenger, I will be very glad to talk back to you.
Yeah, Dolly will talk. This is what blows my mind about you, Dolly. You guys, you and Preston talk to people. You talk to me. I was a nobody. I'm kind of still a nobody. But you guys talked to me when I was literally no one. So, and I couldn't believe it. I'm like, oh my gosh, these guys are talking to me. What? This is so wrong. So they do talk to people. They do. So.
Yeah, very active. I have to apologize. My computer shut down. So I hopped really quick on my cellular device. I couldn't leave without saying goodbye.
Yeah, we got some energy from a CME coming in, so I'm not surprised. Everything's
Oh,
coming.
wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Scott's
you
always
made it
warning
on
me about
the
them
show, so
CMEs.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you so much for being. And again, the time change. Thank you for doing that as well. We will be restreaming this, but it's going to be on the radio show tomorrow. So tonight was live. Tonight was live on YouTube. Tomorrow will be live on the radio show. But of course, it's a live recording of this conversation. So if you're following us, Saturday we will be doing a live radio on Helix Rock Radio. There's the app you can download. You can also go to the website. So just be sure that you know this is going to be a recording of that. It's not of this. It's not going to be another live stream. Sunday, however, we do have another live stream. Stay tuned for that. I'll post some stuff on that, the details of that soon, very soon. So stay tuned. And Dolly and Preston, it was a great pleasure. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you. And I'm going to be in touch soon. Oh my gosh.
Yes. Yep.
All right.
This
Absolutely.
is crazy. I know. Now
It was fun,
I'll
guys.
remember your birthday too, Dolly. So I know that's
Easy to
Dolly's
remember. I mean,
birthday.
Taurus 678. Got it.
Yeah.
Locked in here. All right, guys.
Yeah, our producer's a Taurus as well, and she's on the 10th. So it's like, wow. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy. Well, we got to find this out now. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, have
Bye,
a
y'all.
wonderful night, and we will see you
Yeah,
next time.
Thank you. I'll be in touch, so we'll get it scheduled, okay?
Okie dokie. No problem. Okay.
All right.
Bye now.
Okay.
Coley, so awesome. This is cool. So thank you for Coley for being here, even though you didn't have the time. All right, everybody, we're gonna head out. Coley, any last words?
No, I'm on my cell phone, so I don't have any of my equipment. I don't even know if you can hear me, but I just want to thank everybody. Our admin team is there. I'm like, I love our team. I love the chat, and I'm excited. Like every time I think, oh man, how can this get any better? And it does. And
It
it's
does.
just like, I'm just really excited about where this is going. So
It was
yeah,
also
we're
kind of
getting
weird
real.
this time too. It's kind of weird, like the whole synchronicities. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's like totally, yeah. So I'm excited to see where I really am. So thank everybody for this overwhelming love and support, and we are doing what we can. And like I said, Marquise and I, we're gonna get real. This is gonna be like conversations that nobody else is gonna be able to have these conversations like we will. But I love it, absolutely love it.
I love
So,
it too. We
Thank
made it.
you, Marquise. The videos are great, awesome.
Yes, I'm gonna finish off with that video, everyone, and our true theme song, the one that kind of launched the whole theme song thing in the first place. So, thank you, everybody. We love you guys, and we will see you on the next stream. Peace.
Over here.
Keith and Corey, they're ready to go. Talking about aliens, UFOs, and the unknown. The talk show is buzzing, the excitement grows. Exploring the mysteries that the universe holds. uncover the secrets that nobody knows. From aliens to UFOs, we're ready to explore. Strap